What is today's topic? The topic today is emergency measures after entering the realm of hungry ghosts, or stuck in the bardo body after death. This subject is especially important for most of us, particularly for human beings. After death, which realm are humans most likely to enter? In fact, most beings first remain in the bardo body. Those who are reborn in the animal realm, the hell realm, or the heavenly realm, unless they have performed a great virtuous deed or committed a great unwholesome act that swiftly brings immediate karmic results, will bypass the bardo and directly enter those realms. Otherwise, the majority will indeed enter the bardo stage. However, the bardo body actually drifts continually in our human world. It truly exists. Many people assume that they are ghosts, but in reality, many bardo beings are still in a transitional stage. What is meant by a transitional stage? One has not yet fully manifested based on the pulling force of his virtuous, evil karmic portfolio. Is this pulling force virtuous or evil? And to which part of the 6 realms it is connected? In fact, he has not yet taken a definite form, meaning it can still change at any moment. The problem is that its form of existence appears very much like that of a ghost, leading many to mistake the bardo body for an actual ghost. However, if one remains in the bardo body for too long without finding a direction for rebirth, or is unable to decide on a rebirth path, what is the greatest likelihood? Gradually, he will truly become a ghost. But ghosts come in many different kinds. Is it like the Buddhist sutras say, suddenly becoming a terrifying hungry ghost that cannot find anything to eat? It does not happen that quickly. For most people, except for a small number who change rapidly, the transformation is gradual. Over time one slowly becomes a true hungry ghost. That period can be very long, it could be thousands of years. In other words, if while in the bardo state, you do not promptly deal with the condition of remaining in the bardo, and you do not know how to handle it, or lack emergency rescue methods, then it is very easy for you to formally become a ghost. You have officially become a ghost, yet you still do not know whether you are a bardo body or a ghost. You have no idea what has happened to you. You might still think it is much like when you first die, floating around in the human world, able to see all your relatives and friends and feeling very happy. You simply do not realize that you have already stepped into the realm of hungry ghosts. But if you still do not deal with it, what happens next? You will truly become a hungry ghost. You will suddenly be taken to a place where you can no longer see your relatives and friends. At first you might be able to, but later you cannot. At that point you may really have turned into a hungry ghost. You will truly be trapped and trapped quite deeply. You might not be able to get out relying only on the power of your Dharma practice. In fact, when is the point at which it is easiest to rely upon the power of Dharma practice to break free? It is whilst in the bardo body. Next best is at the stage of being an initial ghost. After that, one descends into the state of a hungry ghost, where it becomes far more difficult. If you fall further, what then? That is the neighboring hells at the edge of hell itself. And going down further, what is it? It is truly the entrance into hell. But why is it that my negative karma only destined me to become a ghost, yet without cause or reason it seems to extend and drag me into hell? Is that really so? In fact, it is quite easy to explain. You must understand that hungry ghosts in the realm of hungry ghosts suffer immensely. When a being is in such torment, with no one to offer aid, it goes without saying that they are bound to be filled with anger. Just like in many of our episodes, especially the recent ones, haven't we talked about this already? Actually, we as sentient beings, not just humans, have many needs. At the most basic level, there are 5 types of needs, and one of them is at least to have adequate food and warmth. If even the basic needs are not met, you will develop a sense of anger, because your needs are not being fulfilled. As a result, you may start to hate those sentient beings who are better off than you, and possibly even resent your relatives and friends, because they didn't help you, didn't even consider your death a big deal, and forgot about you. They didn't do anything to help you, and you yourself did not practice well, didn't know how to help yourself, or maybe you were unwilling to practice, or didn't even know how to practice. So, you gradually drift toward the worst places, and you will become increasingly filled with anger. When you are angry and full of hatred, you will do anything. When this evil mindset arises, it can drag you into hell. That's how you enter into it. So, we must be prepared for the moment of death. In fact, we should have made preparations before dying. After death, one may realize that they have never learnt to practice the Dharma, that they do not know any methods of response, or that the Dharma practices studied during life have never taught them these. If one merely chants, Namo Amitabha Buddha, you may still fail to connect with Amitabha, and he will have no way to save you. If the evil karma within your virtuous, evil karmic portfolio is more, then what is to be done? At such a moment, you will need some urgent methods of rescue. Today, we shall speak of what these emergency measures are. Before I begin the explanation, let us review what was said before. In previous sessions, we already discussed the causes of the arising of greed, hatred and ignorance. Why are our emotions become so intensely stirred when we are scolded? This is because our emotions are inherently prone to agitation. Thus, once you are scolded, your emotions are easily aroused. What does this signify? It shows that you are a person inclined towards the arising of greed, hatred and ignorance. And what is the usual reason for this? You are overly sensitive. When others are not speaking of you, yet you take it upon yourself and assume it is true, even if it is true, we should still take it as false. But you turn the false into the true, because you do not understand how to train the mind. One who knows how to train the mind naturally regards the false as false, and even treats the true as false. Hence, one who understands how to train the mind is far less likely to have their emotions provoked. However, if you do not know how to train the mind, you will take the true as truly so and exaggerate it, and even when the false is not about you, you still take it as true and multiply it further. In this way, where will you easily fall? To the realm of hungry ghosts, animals, or hells. Therefore, we must always remember, for what purpose do we train the mind in our practice? It is so that we are not overly sensitive. All the elements within our behavioral patterns that cause such sensitivity, we must alter entirely. This is called training the mind. Well then, perhaps your heart is filled with an anger that is hard to suppress, and you do not know how to deal with it. This is precisely why you become angry. The Buddha Shakyamuni once taught that greed, hatred, and ignorance are habitual tendencies accumulated by all sentient beings throughout many lives and many kalpa. They are habits formed within one's behavioral formulas. If this behavioral formula is not changed for even a single day, then life after life you will continue in this way. It will only grow more severe, worsening rather than improving. Therefore, placing emphasis on training the mind in practice is of utmost importance. He said that this root cause, in modern terms we call it behavioral formulas. In the language of the ancient Dharma, it is called habitual tendencies, the momentum of habit. If our behavioral formulas are in fact wrong and we fail to alter them, they will only get worse further and further. Anger is in fact an expression of the mind of hatred. If you do not search for the root of this mind of hatred, and do not correct the errors in your behavioral formulas, you will certainly fall into the 3 lower realms. This is absolutely inevitable. Do not think that simply knowing how to recite Namo Amitabha, or knowing how to visualize the deity, means there is nothing to fear. However, the entire operation of nature is governed by your mind, which connect with certain forces of attraction. Then, in accordance with specific karmic forces within your virtuous, evil karmic portfolio, they merge together to drag you down. It is not something that can be settled by merely chanting a few Buddha's names. If it were possible, Buddha Shakyamuni would not have needed to teach so many things for you to practice the Dharma. He would not have had to teach you to train the mind. Why not, in one single instruction, tell everyone just to chant Buddha's holy names, to recite Namo Amitabha? Would that not be sufficient? Of course, this is not feasible. If it were, Buddha Shakyamuni would already have done so. Wouldn't you agree? This means you truly must apply effort at the very root. Psychologists believe that anger is the most primitive of all human emotions. Most primitive means that our habitual tendencies are extremely strong, something we are born with. If you still do not change them, if you fail to transform them through Dharma practice, your life will certainly be in great peril. It is only a matter of time before you fall into the 3 lower realms. When your virtuous karma becomes thinner and almost exhausted, it will all the more inevitably lead you downward. Right? However, in human social culture, anger is often suppressed, and as a result, emotional problems arise. If in our Dharma practice no one has taught you to cultivate your awareness, the awakened nature, but only taught you techniques to visualize a deity with 3 heads and 6 arms whose appearance is more terrifying than your present state of mind, then instruct you to recite Namo Buddha Amitabha Buddha and to visualize certain lights. Light is a form of energy, if, when you visualize it, you are able to establish a connection. Whether that energy carries you to a beneficial destination, or to a harmful one, is determined by your present emotions and your mind. If you amplify the energy while your mind is evil and your greed, hatred and ignorance are heavy, this will accelerate your descent into the realm of hells, or the realm of hungry ghosts. Is that not so? Therefore, you must understand clearly what it is you are doing, where is your route, which superficial, technical practices should be emphasized, and which should only be treated as auxiliaries. You must be very clear about this. Otherwise, relying solely on reciting mantras, entering samadhi, or reciting Buddha's holy names will not alter your behavioral formulas. As a result, you will continue in cycles of rebirth. Remember, the Dharma practice is not merely reciting mantras, entering samadhi, or chanting Buddha's holy names, these are only superficial elements. You must undertake the deep work, that is the awareness. So then, let us first examine this. What are the common causes of our uncontrollable anger? It is precisely that you have certain demands, wishes, or needs which are not being fulfilled. The American psychologist Maslow proposed what he called the hierarchy of needs. He explained this not only with reference to human beings, but in fact applying to all sentient beings, although human demands are somewhat more complex. We have physiological needs, safety needs, social needs, the need for respect, and the need for self-actualization. Now then, from the perspective of the Dharma, since we have studied so much Dharma, have we not? What Dharma practices are there that can address and fulfill these needs? If they cannot be addressed, if even the most basic needs cannot be met, then what use is my learning and practicing the Dharma to me? That is, with regard to the most basic things, Dharma practice must surely be of help. Otherwise, how could I continue with cultivation? Would you agree? If one cannot even cultivate, how then can one elevate oneself? Well then, in the previous few sessions, had we not already discussed part of this? Yet, there is a crucial point. As human beings, what is it that we should focus on most? It is that safety need, this is our greatest concern, the need to be free from suffering, threats, or illness. Therefore, it is especially common for people to worship the Buddha of longevity, or the medicine Buddha, because this need is the most urgent for them. So then, in the Dharma, how do we face this matter? The Hinayana teaches, cut off afflictions, realize Bodhi. You cut them all off, in short, you avoid them, sever them all, and that is sufficient. Then the awareness will arise. The exoteric teachings say, transform them. When you transform them, the awareness will arise, and you will realize Bodhi. Bodhi is precisely the awareness. Now then, the Vajrayana approach says that those very afflictions are awareness itself. When your afflictions arise, it means they are the very things binding you, dragging you to be reborn in the 3 lower realms. If you are able to deal with them, this indicates that your awareness has been elevated, and you will be able to handle them henceforth. Therefore, these afflictions can in fact be transformed into something that helps you. What does this mean? It means that they help you break free from all entanglements, elevate Bodhi, the awareness, and thereby liberate you from all suffering. Thus, afflictions themselves are indeed Bodhi. These 3 different attitudes produce different outcomes. Therefore, from the very beginning of your Dharma practice, you must be clear and decide what attitude you are adopting. If you adopt the Hinayana attitude, it is one of avoidance, always advocating avoidance. You must understand that karmic forces can never be permanently evaded. So long as you still possess a physical body and remain within the 3 realms, you will never be free from the karmic results produced by the law of cause and effect. Even a Buddha is no exception, let alone you. So then, tell me, is avoidance acceptable? If even a Buddha cannot avoid it, why should you be able to? You may mentally adopt avoidance, but in the end it will come knocking at your door, and you will sit worrying about it day after day. You will lose faith and say, all my Buddhist practice is of no use. I have studied for decades and practiced for decades, yet I was still wounded by a wooden spear and nearly lost my life. Then you begin to doubt whether any of it is effective. As a result, you lose faith, you even discard the last life-preserving measures that might save you. Thus, you sink into the deep sea or beneath the earth, in other words, you are inevitably doomed. Well then, what about avoidance? If it is practiced through the method of the Hinayana, how is it done? It is divided into view, practice, conduct, and result. Within the methods of the Dharma practice, there is a form of contemplation called the Four Foundations of Mindfulness. The first foundation of mindfulness is visualizing the body as impure, the second is visualizing feelings as suffering, the third is visualizing the mind as impermanent, and the fourth is visualizing Dharma as selfless. These have already been explained before. The fourth foundation in particular differs considerably between the northern and southern traditions, with many methods. For more detailed information, you may refer to the YouTube channel of the Dudjom Buddhist Association, International The Compassion Series, Episode 41. How can we determine whether religion or sect has the ability to help sentient beings escape from suffering forever and obtain eternal happiness? You may also refer to the classification of the Dharma practice, the essence of emptiness, where this is explained. You must remember, every method of the Dharma practice always has two aspects. One is the theoretical level, the other is the practical level. In the practical level, there must always be visualization. Without it, if you only recite a few mantras or Buddha's holy names, the power will be very weak, falling far short. Why is this so? Because all is created by the mind. Therefore there must be the visualization aspect. The Hinayana does include visualization practices. Many people assume that Mahayana must therefore certainly include them as well, but in fact, this is not so. In reality, there are 84,000 Dharma methods of practice, but not all of them are equally capable of helping you escape the cycles of reincarnation or become a Buddha. Some methods may not even be sufficient to prevent you from falling into the three lower realms. The differences between them are vast. Some are excellent and fast, others are ineffective, taking ages without results. The effectiveness varies greatly, and this is something you must understand. Buddhism is divided into 10 schools. As for the Hinayana, I will not go into it here, since I have already spoken about it at length. In the Mahayana exoteric teachings, the Chentai school had the practice of threefold contemplation in one mind, which originally included visualization, but it has been lost. The Sanluan school had the visualization of the right contemplation of non-attainment, which is also lost. The Vinaya school never had visualization practices at all. The Pure Land school had the 16 contemplations on Amitabha, but that has been lost. The Yogacara, Faxiang, school had the 5 stages of consciousness-only contemplation, also lost. The Chan school had the contemplation of the original face, lost as well. The Huayang school had the contemplation of the Dharma realm, but it too has been lost. You will find that all the visualization practices within the exoteric Mahayana schools have completely disappeared. This is a very tragic outcome, one which I believe to be the result of the Dharma ending age. Why has it evolved into the Dharma ending age? It is because some sentient beings recklessly altered the Buddha's teachings, which led to such problems. The Vajrayana, being different from the system of the exoteric teachings due to regional distinctions, developed in a completely distinct manner. As a result, the Vajrayana has preserved everything, and in extremely great numbers. There are countless methods of visualization, including emptiness, the awareness, principal directions, different levels of Dharma practice, and approaches to addressing the 5 kinds of needs. All of these are fully encompassed within it. As I mentioned earlier, Buddha Mother Kurukula is able to resolve our interpersonal relationships, as well as the emotional entanglements of beings from any realm or background. She can handle them all. Thus, you will find that in the exoteric Buddhism, the visualization component of actual practice is almost non-existent. I say there is still a little, because sometimes when they practice meditation with calm abiding shamatha, whether it is a formless type, or the visualization of breathing, that is still a kind of visualization. But this is not a complete system of visualization. Nevertheless, it is helpful for our practice of calm abiding shamatha. Therefore, you cannot say it is absent, but if you say it exists, then in fact many of its methods have already been lost. Compared with the esoteric Buddhism, the difference is truly too great. What remains are only some simple methods of practice, such as reciting sutras, chanting the Buddha's holy names, and meditation. The reason why all the Dharma practices of visualization have been lost is that everyone pursues simplicity, wishing to avoid effort, thinking that casually chanting Buddha's holy names would be sufficient. This has also been excessively promoted, claiming that such practice alone is enough. People believe it to be true and regard this way of practice as the best. As a result, the most essential and effective Dharma practices and theories in the whole Buddhist system have all vanished. No one studies them anymore, instead, everyone simply chants Buddha's holy names. In this way, they believe it is enough to take care of all matters of their daily lives, while for transcendent matters, they assume that merely chanting Buddha's holy names will settle everything. Thinking that this is sufficient actually harms countless sentient beings. This is the fatal flaw of the Mahayana exoteric Buddhism. It is the excessive exaggeration of the effectiveness of chanting Buddha's holy names. When people act this way, and considering that all the Mahayana sutras actually appeared several hundred years after the Buddha's nirvana, instead of immediately after, it becomes debatable whether the content of these sutras is authentic or not. So, how can such matters be discussed and examined? This requires great Dharma practitioners who have practiced, attained realization, and are able to verify the teachings. They can truly understand what the sutra is saying, explain it clearly, and demonstrate that it is consistent with logic, as well as with experiences in Dharma practice that can be verified. Only then is it possible to distinguish what is genuine from false. In fact, it is not appropriate to cling to a particular sutra, a specific passage, or just a few sentences, and use them for boastful promotion. This can bring harm to sentient beings and mislead everyone into putting all their focus here, believing that they can progress quickly, without effort, and still reach the Buddha Pure Land and even attain Buddhahood. As a result, no one will bother to learn other aspects of the Dharma, right? In that case, the 49 years of teaching given by Buddha Shakyamuni would have been in vain, and what he taught would simply be lost. This is exactly how many visualization practices in the exoteric Buddhism later disappeared, through excessive exaggeration. And since ordinary beings do not understand much, if you tell them this is so, they just believe it. Moreover, their greed, hatred, and ignorance are heavy. Out of greed, they long for quick results without effort, and so they easily believe such claims. This leads to the Dharma ending age, in which all Dharma practices gradually become distorted and deviated. So remember, do not boast, including in the esoteric Buddhism, do not boast that chanting a certain mantra is powerful. If you do not improve your mind and do not work on the root, then the actual help is very little. When your virtuous, evil karmic portfolio is that poor, nothing can truly help you. Therefore, do not lose rational analysis. Whether it is the exoteric Buddhism or the esoteric Buddhism, it is the same. In short, if you recklessly boast, you will cause great disaster and push the entire Dharma into the Dharma ending age. For more details, you may refer to the Dudjom Buddhist Association International's YouTube channel, the Compassion Series, Episode 42, What are the differences in effectiveness and speed among the various Buddhist practice methods? This has been explained in that video. Well, let us now talk about what the major differences are between the exoteric school and the esoteric Buddhism. The distinction lies in their methods of practice, because there are some great differences in key elements, the approaches to cultivation are not the same. Let's take a look. If we are speaking within the Mahayana tradition, both the exoteric and esoteric Buddhism are called Mahayana, then the question is, how long does it take to attain Buddhahood in Mahayana? That depends on which method of practice one undertakes. For more details, you can refer to our Dudjom Buddhist Association, International's TV channel on YouTube, Classifications of Buddhist Practice, The Essence of Emptiness. If we use the exoteric approach, beginning from the 10 beliefs and cultivating up through the 4 preliminary practices, until reaching the supreme worldly Dharma, then even in the fastest case, if one relies only on theory, since the exoteric school is primarily theory-based, one would need to practice for 1 Asakaya Kalpa. 1 Asakaya Kalpa equals 10 to the 51st power of the time it takes for the universe to go through formation, existence, destruction, and emptiness. Wow, that is so long it is beyond calculation. If one continues further, from Bodhisattva of the 1st level up to the Bodhisattva of the 7th level, that requires another Asakaya Kalpa. From the 8th level to the 10th level, yet another Asakaya Kalpa. And still, one has not attained Buddhahood. One must complete the stage of the equal enlightenment Bodhisattva at the 10th level in order to get to the 11th leve, the Bodhisattva of complete enlightenment. Such a long journey indeed, truly beyond reckoning calculation. But why does the esoteric Buddhism claim that one can attain Buddhahood in the current body? This is because a slight deviation can lead to a great error. That is to say, the Mahayana exoteric Buddhism cultivates on the cause, while the esoteric Buddhism cultivates directly on the result. What is meant by result? Result means that we directly transform the mind into wisdom. We transform our mind, all corrupted habitual patterns of practice, and all negative behavioral patterns into wisdom. This is called transforming mind into wisdom. Then we train this wisdom, and once it develops and matures into the complete 5 wisdoms, we direct it into emptiness, elevating our awareness and merging it into emptiness. Only then can this path be cultivated. Because result itself means possessing perfect enlightenment, that is, 100% awareness without deviation, this is called the result. If from the very beginning you cultivate within the result, cultivating the awareness, then the progress will be swift. One can attain Buddhahood in this current body. The exoteric Buddhism always talks about the cause, doing a little good deed, but it does not directly emphasize cultivating the awareness. By relying on a few good deeds, hoping to change and elevate one's awareness, this is difficult and slow. Therefore, if we begin from the stage without doubt of the 10 beliefs, cultivating through these 10 kinds of faith, we must connect with the awareness in our practice. Only then can it be quick. What are the 10 beliefs? According to the names of sages and holies, the upper volume of the Sutra of the Garland of a Bodhisattva's primary karmas, the 10 beliefs are the mind of deep-seated confidence, thoughtful awareness, diligence, wisdom, meditational concentration, no return, dedicating merits, protecting the dharmas, observing precepts, and keeping vows. For detailed explanations, please refer to our Compassion series, episodes 30, 31, and 32. In fact, every episode touches on certain parts of this subject. That is, from the very beginning at the stage without doubt, once we set foot on the path of Dharma practice, we must remember to connect with the awareness in order to attain Buddhahood in the current life. Because your 10 beliefs are the cause, and when you truly cultivate those awarenesses, they are the result. The cause and the result must correspond to each other. Any Dharma practice that fails to correspond will not succeed, even after 3 great Asakaya Kalpa. In other words, if your 10 beliefs are not connected with the awareness, no matter how you practice, you will not be able to develop the awareness. This is the relationship of cause and result. How can we connect with the awareness in our Dharma practice? How can we develop the awareness? It turns out there is a specific method. This method has never been taught before. It is only now that we are beginning to teach it. In many of our previous episodes, we have already started to explain this. In fact, there have been at least more than 10 episodes. Now, let me explain it again. In fact, the whole process is like this. You must use our method of training the mind and Dharma practice. Step 1, you must apply the mind training procedure. Within this mind training procedure, there are 5 steps. You can review our previous episodes where these have been explained. Second, you must combine it with the pith instructions of the Diamond Sutra. Do not abide in notions, meaning do not let yourself be trapped by anything, stuck in narrow fixations. The second pith instruction of the Diamond Sutra is, do not abide anywhere to arouse the awareness. This does not mean foolishly rejecting everything, but rather, allowing the awareness to be developed without attachments. And this awareness helps you develop the 5 wisdoms. This kind of awareness is the genuine one. To develop the 5 wisdoms, you must also combine it with emptiness, neither existence nor voidness, and not with the rigid and obstinate kind of insensate emptiness. In this way, you can truly develop the awareness. If you then connect it with the practice of the 10 beliefs, you will soon be able to attain Buddhahood through the current body. That is, this entire method of developing the awareness is the true core of Dharma practice. Merely reciting a few Buddha's holy names is not the core, these are the core. Now we should also combine some auxiliary, practical techniques, such as chanting mantras, reciting Buddha's holy names, entering meditation, or visualization. These are called practice techniques. The true core is the method of the 5 steps of training the mind and Dharma practice. That is the primary. The techniques are secondary. If we truly wish to escape samsara, and not suddenly fall into the 3 lower realms, then we must work at the root, training the mind. If you then add some surface-level practice techniques, with the 2 supporting each other, then you can quickly attain Buddhahood through the current body. But if you have not laid the foundation well, and only rely on superficial techniques, you will still fall into the 3 lower realms. This was made very clear by Buddha Shakyamuni in many cases and teachings. However, no one has been able to grasp the essentials and teach you in a structured way. Therefore, today I will draw diagrams to teach you. Now let us take a look. If we wish to be free from suffering, threats, and illness, it cannot be achieved merely by avoidance. Yet unfortunately, the teachings of the Hinayana and the exoteric teachings rely on avoidance. In fact, they only have one method, avoidance. They believe suffering is normal, and that the body is just a stinking skin bag, so it is not worth our concern. However, the esoteric Buddhism is different. It teaches, affliction itself is bodhi. If we can successfully counteract any affliction, then we can develop the awareness. Therefore, from the perspective of mindset, all afflictions are regarded as opportunities to give rise to bodhi awareness. They are not seen as something bad. Instead, they are seen as transformable into something beneficial. But in the process of counteracting them, if one does not apply the 5-step method of the mind training and Dharma practice that was just explained, one will very easily abide in notions. Once abiding in notions, attachment sets in, and this inevitably evolves into greed, hatred, and ignorance. Once there are greed, hatred, and ignorance, one will fall into lower rebirths in undesirable realms, or otherwise continue to wander in samsara. This is precisely the main reason. However, since most esoteric Buddhist masters nowadays no longer pay attention to the practice of precepts and emptiness, they only know how to perform empowerments, saying that a certain mantra is very powerful, and that merely reciting it is sufficient. In this way, is this not similar to reciting Buddha's holy names? Is this not the same as the exoteric tradition boasting about reciting Buddha Amitabha? What should we actually be speaking about? We should be speaking about the inner meaning. Yet they do not speak of it. In this way, most Dharma practitioners, especially esoteric Buddhist practitioners, are drawn into an excess of esoteric Buddhist happenings and notions, and thus they will be abiding in notions, which becomes the main cause for them to fall into lower rebirths. This is like our Kurukula puja today. You have learnt a mantra, and also a prayer, yet when you supplicate, if within your virtuous and evil karmic portfolio, there is no virtuous karma, or very little of it, or if your own behavioral formulas, and your mentality, is that of a malicious person, difficult to get along with, then your human relationships must certainly be poor. In such a case, no matter how one tries to help you, it cannot truly be of help. Do you understand? That is, everything requires both the fundamental and the superficial teachings and methods, the two to be practiced in harmony. In fact, the esoteric Buddhism possesses many methods to fulfill the need of being free from suffering, threats, or illnesses. From the very beginning of entering the Buddhist path, what should we do? We must cultivate renunciation. What is meant by renunciation? It has 2 levels of meaning. Firstly, it is to depart from all suffering. That is, when we encounter suffering, how should we deal with it? We must distance ourselves from it. Yet to leave it behind requires a proper method. It is not mere avoidance that is called leaving. The method is that one must deal with these sufferings with wisdom. And what does with wisdom mean? There are two aspects you must accomplish. I do not escape, I will face it. Yet I also do not abide in notions, I will not be entangled by it. I will not let it bind me, nor will I cling to it. And secondly, on a deeper level, you must have the resolve to completely break free from this suffering. If you possess such resolve, then you have cultivated renunciation. Having renunciation, you must also find the method itself. It is not through mere words that you can be freed. You must find practice methods, and this set of methods should enable you to escape from samsara, or to attain Buddhahood. You must understand this. That is, the 5 fundamental methods of mind training and Dharma practice that were taught earlier, together with all the superficial techniques of practice, you must understand them. Now then, what is meant by with wisdom? With wisdom means that you first know how to deal with the most important matter, which is to place the virtuous karma from the virtuous, evil karmic portfolio first. The very first step in your Dharma practice must be to accomplish this. For you must first increase your own energy before you can cope with those evil karmas. If you begin straight away by dealing with evil karmas, without increasing your virtuous karmas, then where will you find the energy? Struggling against those evil karmas will exhaust the energy of your entire life. That means you will have no energy left at all. Later, you will be bound by your karmic creditors, like a crab being tied up, facing death, and unable to turn yourself around. Therefore, we must always first increase virtuous karma. Within the law of cause and effect, there is also something to which you must pay attention. It is that we must act in correspondence. Everything is about correspondence. For cause and effect are linked together, a pair, a matching set. Suppose you create many causes, but those causes do not correspond with the effect you wish to attain. Then, even though you exert yourself in Dharma practice, it will not be in accord, you will strive diligently yet fail to reach your desired result, and thus you will suffer greatly. Is your method of practice of any use? The truth is, it is because you have not acted in a corresponding manner. That is, avoidance will only make you disheartened, because in the end you will realize that it cannot be avoided. Unable to escape the result, you will feel very discouraged, will you not? Therefore, we must deal with it correspondingly. And how can we handle it correspondingly? This was explained in the previous session. It means that we accumulate virtuous karmic merits in 3 levels. You must understand these. The introductory teachings of the Dudjom Buddhist Association, International, right from the beginning, teach certain methods, all of which prevent you from avoiding, and also from abiding in notions. From the very start, this is what is used for teaching. You can refer to our Dudjom Buddhist Association, International's TV channel on YouTube, the Compassion Series, Episode 43, What are the Esoteric Buddhism's auxiliary forces that enable one to become a Buddha through the current body in the present lifetime? However, merely speaking of accumulating virtuous karma is not sufficient. You must also accumulate a kind of virtuous karma called emergency virtuous karma. In fact, this is what you should learn right from the beginning. And in our Dudjom Buddhist Association, International, it is taught at the very beginning. Have you learnt it? Have you practiced it? That I do not know. That is, you must examine yourself to see whether you fail to attend Dharma events, finding all sorts of excuses not to come. In this way, you simply cannot learn. You have taken refuge, you have entered our Dudjom Buddhist Association, International, yet if you do not even attend Dharma events, how can you be taught? Is that not so? These matters must be taught face to face. Or, if you do not accumulate merits, and do not have enough merit hours to study, this again is not acceptable, is it not? Thus, virtuous karmas you have learnt, do you even know that they are of the emergency virtuous karmas? Have you practiced them? Some of my disciples may still be muddle-headed, and therefore I must explain things more clearly, for the sake of all sentient beings. In fact, besides cultivating the kind of virtuous karma I taught in the previous session, already divided into 3 levels, and which you should accomplish, you must also practice a form of virtuous karma called rescue, or emergency virtuous karma. It, too, is divided in 3 levels. At the time of our death, even if we know how to practice the Dharma, we may still fail. Do you suppose that knowing how to recite Buddha's holy names guarantees success? When you recite Buddha's holy names, it is quite possible that after 2 lines many distracting thoughts will arise. In pain you may keep groaning and forget. You will make mistakes. No matter how excellent your visualizations are, you can still fail at that crucial moment. Because at that moment the power exerted by your virtuous and evil karmic portfolio, and by your karmic creditors, is at its greatest. In short, they seize your life while you are ill. Their aim is to drag you down into the 3 lower realms. Why would they give you a breathing space? Thus, very often when you fail at that time you will not be able to reach your intended destination. Consequently, one may remain in the body of the bardo, or be born into paths that are relatively easy to escape. For example, have you ever seen moths that live only 7 days? That is considered easy to escape. Even if you are reborn into the realm of animals, there exist life states within it that are relatively easy to be freed from. That is, for instance, if you become a moth and descend into the realm of animals with only a 7-day lifespan, after those 7 days when the moth dies you may still have the chance to return to the bardo body. Your opportunity to escape becomes much greater. The second level is whether your methods of practice can cope with the bardo body, or even more deeply, whether you also know the methods for paths that are relatively easy to escape from. Now, the third level, do your methods of practice include a level that can help you even if you are reborn into a very adverse path, for example the realm of hells, from which it is hard to emerge? Do you still know how to get out? These are called rescue methods, are they not? You die and, with a single thud, fall into the realm of hells, perhaps already close to the lower pits. How can you return up to the bardo body so that you can take a better rebirth? Aren't these precisely the rescue practices? You must accumulate the virtuous karmas that support these methods. So, they are divided into 3 levels. These 3 levels, very easy to escape from, moderately easy to escape from, or very difficult to escape from. If you are in a given path, do you possess corresponding methods to escape that path? If you do, those are the rescue methods. In fact, there is another path that is moderately easy to escape from, called the realm of hungry ghosts. The difficult ones to escape from are the realm of animals and the realm of hells. What is the introductory teaching of the Dudjom Buddhist Association, International? It is to teach you how to accumulate the merits of rescue virtuous karmas. At present, what our Dudjom Buddhist Association, International, teaches is that, if you reach the deepest level, you will be able to deal with all 3 situations. It depends on the level you have attained. Let us now have a look. If you remain in the state of bardo, as mentioned earlier, it is easy to enter the realm of hungry ghosts. Walking on and on, you will reach it. Then, we should understand how the Buddha spoke of this realm of hungry ghosts. As you see, when I speak of the Dharma, I always cite the Buddhist sutras. There is another point. I never speak of ghosts, nor do I tell ghost stories. Why is that? You will know later. To tell many ghost stories will bring serious trouble. Whenever I speak of ghosts, it is always according to the Buddha's teaching. The Buddha spoke in a certain way, and I follow that accordingly. I speak in line with him. Moreover, I never reveal the privacy of those ghost beings, nor their stories, nor their life experiences. Why not? Because if you tell such matters, you will offend them. You will connect with them, and thus form unnecessary enmity. If you spread another's privacy everywhere, people will dislike you. Needless to say, ghosts will surely resent you, will they not? Therefore, you may see that when the Buddha spoke of ghosts, it was only for the sake of saving sentient beings. He would speak of the causes and results, and also provide the means of resolution. Speaking in such a way is called complete. This is completely different from the ghost stories told out there. Today I shall speak of ghosts. Yet I will certainly speak only in line with the Buddha, and will not insert anything else that creates resentment. Such matters I will not speak of. You must all remember this key point. Do not speak recklessly. If you are to speak, then speak in accord with the Buddha. According to the treatise on the great virtue of wisdom, Mahaprajnapramitasastra, volume 30, there are two kinds of ghosts. One kind is called the harmful ghost. Like the devas, they enjoy pleasures. Indeed, they seem like celestial beings, very happy. One may wonder, can even ghosts be so joyful? In fact, they dwell with the hungry ghosts, yet they are the lords of the hungry ghosts. As leaders, they possess special merits and enjoy blessings like the devas. The second kind is called hungry ghost. The belly of a hungry ghost is vast, like a valley. Yet its throat is as narrow as a needle. Its skin is dark, with bones covered only by thin flesh, and many tendons exposed. It is most ugly. Even after many hundreds of years, they never hear the names of food or drink. That is, while you often hear of a delicious pizza, or a fine restaurant, they do not. For hundreds of years they cannot eat. They cannot even hear the names of food and drink. Their state is most miserable. However, those who can become such harmful ghosts with blessings are very few. Very few can attain the status of ghost king. The majority become hungry ghosts. In the Samyukta Sutra on mindfulness of the true Dharma, Sadharmasmriti Upasthana Sutra, chapter on hungry ghosts, 36 kinds of ghosts are listed. So many indeed. The text says that apart from a few ghosts who may enjoy good retribution, why is it that one of them can become a ghost king? This is because, during his lifetime, he created much virtuous karma, yet also committed some evil deeds that caused him to become a ghost. Thus, when both kinds of retribution ripened upon him, he became a ghost king. In fact, the majority lack such virtuous karma. They abide in the realm of hungry ghosts, all suffering greatly. Some hungry ghosts have very large heads, full of ulcers. Their bellies are swollen. They are always starving, yet they obtain not a morsel of food, nor a drop of water. Still, they experience hunger and thirst, and it is most intense. Therefore, their condition is very miserable. If one is reborn in the realm of hungry ghosts, what is usually the reason? It is because within greed, hatred, and ignorance, one's greed is especially heavy. That leads to such a fate. The beings of the realm of hungry ghosts are of two kinds. One kind is womb-born, that is, conceived and born, but unlike humans, they do not require 10 months of pregnancy. They are different from us, yet they are womb-born. The other kind is an apparitional birth, upapduka. This means that if one commits heavy evil karma, at the moment of death, with the last breath, one instantly becomes a ghost. This is apparitional birth. Or, if you enter the body of the bardo and slowly, without realizing, transform into a ghost, this is also called apparitional birth. Now, if it is womb birth, I can tell you it is extremely miserable. According to the sutra, from one womb may be born several hundred ghost infants. These infants must be nourished, yet the mother herself has no food and no water. What then? After birth, these ghost infants are always thirsty and hungry, crying every day. You know how exhausting it is to raise children, hearing them cry every day. If you are a ghost mother, hearing hundreds of infants crying every day for food, yet having nothing to give, how tragic is that? When you are a ghost, there is also great anguish in the mind. I have given birth to my own flesh and blood, yet I cannot raise them nor protect them. This is not only the torment of hunger, but also spiritual affliction, many times beyond what you can imagine. All these are stated in the Samyukta Sutra, on mindfulness of the true Dharma. The sutra says that there is such a state of mind, called powerless, when one has no way to provide for or to protect one's offspring. This is most pitiable. The treatise on the great virtue of wisdom, Mahaprajnapramitasastra, divides ghosts into two kinds, according to numerical proportion. The Sadharmasmriti Upasthana Sutra lists 36 kinds of ghosts, according to their forms, the details of their suffering, and their states. Hence there are 36 kinds. Now, in the Buddhist sutras, concerning ghosts, they have another name called Preta ghosts. In terms of types, many sutras and treatises discuss them, yet you may notice the accounts are not the same. Why so? Because the standards used in classification differ, and thus the results differ. In Abhidharma Nyingusrastra, it is said that ghosts are of three kinds. The first kind is the ghost of no wealth, who has no money at all. That is, without any resources. The ghost of no wealth has no means at all. Its mouth emits fire, hence it is called a flaming mouth, or torch mouth. The special feature of these ghosts is that what they see is very different from what we see. We see the river as clear water, but the hungry ghost sees it as pus and blood. This means that what appears on the screen of perception, transformed by its consciousness, though the same object, is different from what appears on our screen. When it is thirsty or hungry, whatever food or drink it puts into its mouth turns to flames. This is the bitter fruit of being overly miserly in its past life. Another is called the needle-mouth ghost. Its belly is large, but its throat is as narrow as a needle. It cannot swallow food, and even water may not pass through the needle. Therefore, it is called the needle-mouth ghost. Another is called the putrid-mouth ghost. The mouth of the putrid-mouth ghost is decayed and foul-smelling. It makes itself nauseous and vomits. What does it mean to make itself nauseous? It means that it always smells that foul odor, which causes it to vomit. Even without eating, it vomits. The belly is already empty, yet it must still vomit. With nothing to bring up, it suffers much. Whatever it eats it will vomit. It constantly smells the stench of its mouth. The stench makes it vomit, so this is very painful. The second kind is called the ghost of little wealth. This means the ghost with a little resource. The first is called the needle-hair ghost. Its body hair is sharp like needles, so no one dares come near to help. If it falls and you wish to lift it up, you do not dare approach, for its whole body is needles. These needles not only pierce others, but also pierce itself, stabbing its own organs and body. Thus, it feels all day as if needles pierce its whole body, which is very painful. The second is called the putrid hair ghost. Its body hair gives forth a foul odor, which makes itself nauseous and vomit. It is made to vomit by its own stench, and cannot eat or drink. Another kind is called the swollen ghost. Its throat grows a swelling, which prevents it from eating or drinking. That swelling bursts and flows with pus. It drinks this pus, which means it drinks its own pus, and no other. This is considered eating a little, right? Thus, it is called the ghost of little resource, the ghost of little wealth. The third kind is called the ghost of much wealth. This is a ghost with many resources. The first is called the ghost of sacrifices, who eats offerings by humans. When spirit paper money or paper offerings are burned, only he can receive them, others cannot. If you burn them for your ancestor, but your ancestor is not a ghost of sacrifices, then he cannot receive them. The ghosts of much wealth eat these. When human, this kind of ghost was very miserly, yet had many virtuous deeds. It accumulated many good karmas before. But he hoarded his wealth, that is, he withheld resources. When there was famine, he hoarded all grain and sold it at a high price, making profit from the suffering of sentient beings. In other words, he has his own merit, but he also has evil karma. To profit from others' distress is wrong. Therefore, after death, he becomes this kind of ghost. He has the retribution of a hungry ghost, but also has the power of flying, and can fly in the sky. In fact, ordinary ghosts can also fly. In general, unless their energy is very poor, many ghosts can float in the sky. For example, in the early stage of the bardo state, it can float in the sky, appearing as though flying. They all can. The ghosts of sacrifices may enjoy the offerings of ancestral halls and sacrifices. Another kind is called ghosts of losses. Who are ghosts of losses? They live on human excrement, urine, and vomit. They can only consume these. Other foods they cannot take. They are forced to eat. Therefore, in the sutra it is said that the saliva of Dharma practitioners is very precious. Because Dharma practitioners recite Buddha's holy names and chant the sutras, and it is even better if they recite the precepts. Food that has been touched by their saliva after the recitation of the precepts becomes especially cooling. The hungry ghosts can consume it. It is especially cooling and is different from the saliva of ordinary Dharma practitioners. They can consume the saliva of Dharma practitioners. Also, food that has been touched by saliva can be consumed by them, not only the saliva itself. Therefore, every time we recite the precepts at our Dudjom Buddhist Association, International, we hold a monthly Upavasata Dharma assembly. We instruct disciples to take some biscuits, bite them, and leave saliva upon them. We then further bless these biscuits. Our blessing has a theoretical basis. In short, it is a blessing that allows the hungry ghosts to receive the greatest benefit after eating. Afterwards, we place them outside for the hungry ghosts. Other sentient beings may also eat them. Sentient beings in the realm of animals that eat them may also more easily remove obstacles and be liberated from that realm and from their suffering at that time. That is, after you have recited the precepts. At once you have not yet broken any precepts, have you? Having just recited the precepts, you would not violate the precepts right away. If, at that moment, you eat a bite of food touched by saliva, it is the best. When these are eaten by the hungry ghosts, they feel cool. Why do they feel cool? Because the burning hot connections that torment them are all temporarily cut off. Why is there such an effect? Moreover, after they eat, they can remain full for a long period, and their suffering of hunger is reduced. If they eat other things, in only a few minutes they feel hungry again. But when they eat the food of Dharma practitioners who have recited the precepts, they remain full for a long period. Why is it so? This is also the method of food offering that disciples must practice after our Dudjom Buddhist Association, International, holds the Upavasata Dharma event. This means after the recitation of the precepts and the public repentance. Because the power of precepts and the field of precepts will then arise. What is the power of precepts? It is the power of the precepts, of observing the precepts, and of upholding precepts. The field formed from this power is called the field of precepts. Among all beings of the 6 realms of the 3 realms, there are Dharma practitioners in every realm. Many Dharma practitioners keep the precepts and value the precepts. Because of the pure mind that arises from observing the precepts, a kind of pulling force will be produced. By this force they gather together. Because they all vow before the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas to observe the precepts. They are directed towards the same goal. In this way, a field of force is formed. This field is completely condensed from the mind that keeps the precepts. This is called the power of precepts and the field of precepts. How can you connect with this excellent field of precepts? One may think, I'm practicing the Dharma, but I often break precepts and have many afflictions. How can I connect with it so that it helps to reduce them, and stops me from violating precepts carelessly? What should I do? That is why we hold the Upavasata Dharma events. What is Upavasata? It was stipulated by Buddha Shakyamuni. All his disciples and practitioners must hold it twice each month. But in our modern time, people are very busy. So, in our generation, it is held only once a month. Even so, very few Dharma centers conduct it. If you speak of the practice that includes public repentance, fully following the instructions of Buddha Shakyamuni, then at present in the whole world, I believe, as far as I know, and perhaps my knowledge is limited, it is only our Dudjom Buddhist Association, International, that does so. Others do not. It turns out that merely reciting the precepts is not enough. You must also make requests. That is, you must rely on the power of your guru to request various masters, Buddhas, Bodhisattvas and Dharma protectors to come as witnesses, to witness that the disciples you have taught are coming forth to confess their faults publicly. Then they act as witnesses. When they confirm that you have truly repented, they can help you to draw upon the power of the field of precepts to bless you. This means they will help you to make the connection. They will help the minds of these repentant beings and those who recite the precepts to connect with the field of precepts, so that you are protected, your karmic obstacles are cleared, and your karmic creditors cannot easily approach you. Therefore, this Upavasata is very important. I have made it a rule that all disciples must attend, yet they always find various reasons not to. This is a matter of their merit. If their merit is not enough and they do not attend, I cannot save them, even though I wish to. It is impossible. At most I can teach you. If you do not learn, then I can do nothing. This explains how important our present Upavasata Dharma assembly is, and where its principle lies. The sutras have already made this very clear. The ghosts of losses can eat human excrement, but it is very difficult for them to consume the saliva of Dharma practitioners. Not many Dharma practitioners, after reciting the precepts, would spit out their saliva. We would not do so either. What then happens? Thus, they eat the leftovers of Dharma practitioners, food touched with saliva. They eat the scraps. But we do not act in this way. Instead, we take a whole biscuit, take one bite, and then offer the remaining piece, still intact and presentable, for them to eat. We do not give them anything dirty. It must also be blessed and reconnected to the field of precepts. Only then do we perform the food offering. Thus, the offerings of our Upavasata have this special function. Our Dharma assembly stipulates that after leading disciples in the recitation of the precepts and repentance, we must then conduct the Tsok offering ceremonies. What is Tsok offering? It is a combined offering. We must purchase many offerings and place them upon the Buddhist altar. After the ritual practice, recitation of the precepts, and public repentance, the accumulated merit is gathered, we perform a ritual of Tsok offering. Many prayers are chanted to report to all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, masters, and Dharma protectors. After this reporting is completed, those offerings are then blessed. Because the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, responding to your invitation, have come as witnesses, and you have truly performed the ritual, completing the whole process, the offerings remain in a blessed state and are connected with the field of precepts. Therefore, the offering of our Upavasata is usually distributed to disciples to eat. You will notice that in our public Dharma pujas we distribute offerings. These offerings carry the blessings obtained when we practice rituals and make offerings to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. This is very different from when there is a field of precepts, with special practices, such as reciting the precepts and public repentance. With the field of precepts, the blessings are multiplied many times. I often tell disciples that you may say you cannot eat so much, but in fact the more you eat, the better. You may dislike the offerings we buy, thinking they are not good enough, or do not suit your taste, so you refuse to eat them. But do not waste them by throwing them into the bin. You can place them for other sentient beings to eat. When other sentient beings eat them, they can easily be freed from the realm of animals. Moreover, every time you put it out, you must pray. Pray that the sentient beings, who have the opportunity to eat it, may swiftly be freed from the realm of animals. If hungry ghosts eat them, pray that they may be freed from the realm of hungry ghosts. I instruct disciples to place food for them to eat. Some disciples are very obedient, but not all. But many are quite good. Sometimes they report to me that they have taken everything to the hillside, or placed it into the sea, offering it to the sentient beings there. The hungry ghosts are very miserable, extremely miserable. I am only giving a brief introduction now. You cannot yet fully understand their real suffering. Yet, even by hearing this, you may feel how pitiful they are. Therefore, you should help them. When you are given these offerings, after practicing the Dharma properly, and after hearing the teachings, remember that they have no food. They can only eat your excrement. So, give them something better to eat. Do the food offering. Be good and obedient in this. Why must there be recitation of names and dedication the memorial tablets? Later I shall cite some sutras to explain. Without recitation of names for dedication, they cannot eat the food. Therefore, in our food offering, we always include recitation of names for dedication. In our Dudjam Buddhist Association, International, we have many memorial tablets. There are two kinds, long life tablets and ancestral tablets. For the living, their names are placed on long life tablets. There is a special feature in our association. If you have a long life tablet, and later when you die and someone calls us, we will transfer your tablet to the ancestral tablets. Of course, if your ancestor has passed away, you may also make an ancestral tablet for them. At each Upavasata we recite names and dedicate merit, so that they may receive the blessings of the field of precepts. Every month we recite names and dedicate merit twice, once in the public puja. If you have a memorial tablet, the names will be recited. If you make offerings of lamps or incense smoke in a public puja, we also prepare a paper tablet for you, so your name will be included in the dedication. The difference is, if you already have a tablet in our association, then at the Upavasata, or a public Dharma event, your name will also be recited and dedicated. If you only attend the monthly public puja, your name will be recited and dedicated there. But at Upavasata, we do not recite the names of public puja participants. Why is that? Because the recitation of the precepts is mainly for our own disciples. Usually, disciples themselves do not need to have their names recited, for by reciting in person they already receive the merit and blessing. As for those who have memorial tablets, we recite their names and dedicate to them, so that they too may receive the help of the field of precepts. Why do we do this? It is because only then can they partake of the offerings, or the food in the ancestral hall. According to the sutras, only the ghosts of sacrifices may receive and use the offerings in the hall and in the rites. There is only one exception. If there is a memorial tablet here, and one performs recitation of names for dedication, then he can receive it. The Kitigarbha Sutra also states this. It says that if his name is not spoken, he cannot receive it. This is called recitation of names for dedication. Now, the third type is the ghost of great power. What does this mean? It refers to the powerful ghost kings such as Yakas and Rakshasas. They have supernatural powers. Their merits are close to those of celestial beings. Therefore, they have the ability to bestow blessings and to inflict calamities. How do they inflict calamities? They can constantly create disturbances, causing confusion and trouble. One problem follows another. One may even face wars. This is called the infliction of calamities. To bestow blessings means to bring favorable winds and timely rains. This is good. They have the power to influence certain energies and cause them to change. These changes bring blessings or calamities upon us. Some of them are also willing to learn the Dharma and even to protect it. According to Abhidharma Ninusrastra, the classification is based on the amount of merit. Thus, there are these three types of ghosts. If you do not accumulate good karma during life, you may become a miserable kind of ghost. There are many kinds of ghosts, 36 in all. See which kind you may become. It is best not to become one. If not, there must be a method of rescue. What method of rescue is there? Many people ask whether food offering can work. We make offerings above to the three jewels, to the Gurus, Buddhas, Bodhisattvas and Sangha. We offer to all. We also make offerings below to sentient beings of the six realms. In this way, can it solve the problem and help one to leave the realm of hungry ghosts, after falling into it? Now I am speaking about this very question to you. According to Sutra on the Dharani and Divine Mantra for saving the flaming-faced hungry ghosts, it is said in this way. The attendant of Buddha Shakyamuni was Venerable Ananda, one of the 10 great disciples of the Buddha. Yet, the Dharma practice of Venerable Ananda in his lifetime was rather ordinary. Only after Buddha Shakyamuni entered Nirvana did he succeed in his cultivation. When the Buddha was alive, he relied on the Buddha's presence. He was lax in Dharma practice. Perhaps, serving Buddha Shakyamuni was tiring and consumed much of his time. This might be the case. Yet, he still had time to practice the Dharma. Once, while in meditation in a forest, he suddenly saw a hungry ghost. It was a ghost king called Burning Face, or Alkamukha Pritaraja. What is meant by burning face? It means the face is on fire. When Venerable Ananda saw the ghost's face burning, he gave it the name Burning Face Ghost. He called it thus, a ghost with a face in flames. The ghost spoke to Ananda. It said that, 3 days later, you will fall into the realm of hungry ghosts. If you wish to avoid this calamity of falling into the realm of hungry ghosts after 3 days, you must make offerings to the hungry ghosts and make offerings to the 3 jewels. The ghost said this to Ananda. As you know, I like to cite the original texts of the sutra. I do not wish to speak casually. I prefer to render each sentence. I think this is better. Now let us look at the actual sutra. The text states, at that time, Ananda dwelt alone in a peaceful place, contemplating with one mind. This means that at that time, he went to a very quiet place, sat alone, and entered a meditational concentration. Contemplating with one mind means unlike our usual state of countless deluded thoughts and endless wandering ideas. When we gather our attention into one mind, what is one mind? It means there is no deluded thought. That is one mind. What is contemplating? It means there are no other thoughts arising. The thoughts can even be counted. Now you have countless thoughts. But he had concentrated to such a degree that there were only one or two thoughts countable. This is called contemplating with one mind. He was in that state. It is like a cup of water, very muddy. When it settles, all the impurities sink to the bottom. Then the surface becomes clear, does it not? It can be like a mirror, able to reflect things, is it not? According to the sutra, at that time his mind was like a cup of water settled and clear. It was like a mirror. His mind was like a mirror that could reflect. He saw things. He could see what usually could not be seen. When it was after the third watch of the night, he suddenly saw a hungry ghost called Burning Face. He could see him. He stood before Venerable Ananda. Speaking to Ananda, it said, after 3 days your life will end. It means from now, after 3 days, he would die. You will at once be born among these hungry ghosts. That means he would immediately become a hungry ghost. Upon death, he would fall straight into that state, without passing through an intermediate body of bardo. This was its meaning. What kind of evil karma could be so heavy? Venerable Ananda had many merits. He had served the Buddha. He had planted much good karma. How could his life be only 3 days more, and then fall straight into the realm of hungry ghosts? Would the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas not protect him? Now, look at the phrase standing before Ananda. Why was it possible for the ghost to stand in front of Ananda? Venerable Ananda was protected by Dharma protectors. A ghost should not come near. Yet it could even reflect into Ananda's mind and make him see. Especially when you sit in meditation practice, you must remember not to sit carelessly. If you sit carelessly, nothing much happens. But if you sit well, the mind becomes like a mirror. You may see many things. It is easy to make connections, is it not? Then your karmic creditors may easily come close. Thus, we should have protective practices to safeguard ourselves. Only then can we meditate in a protected state. It should not be done recklessly. Venerable Ananda should have known this. How could the ghost come near and even reveal its form? This was due to causes and conditions from many past lives. The burning face ghost was his karmic creditor coming to collect. In fact, this was a good matter. Why do I say it was good? Affliction is bodhi. Do not think that seeing a ghost means doom and misery. In truth, it would be a good thing. Why? Because in truth, he had only 3 days of life. If he were not a Dharma practitioner, he could not have seen the ghost. He would not be meditating. His mind would not be like a mirror. He could not have seen it. The ghost could not even inform him in a dream. In dreams, his mind would be confused. He could not receive the message. How would he know that he had 3 days left? After 3 days, he would die and fall straight into the realm of hungry ghosts. Who could save him then? No one. But since he knew how to practice the Dharma, he could turn his mind into a mirror. At the critical moment, a connection was made. The hungry ghost came before him and told him, it was his karmic creditor, now come to collect. He must act. Otherwise after death, he would join it as a hungry ghost. Because there was enmity, it would surely pull him along. Its suffering would become his suffering. Yet, why did it speak to Ananda? Because Venerable Ananda was the attendant beside the Buddha. That was like being immensely wealthy, standing next to the Buddha, with great advantage. If one asked Ananda, it was as if asking the Buddha. The ghost had little karmic link with the Buddha. The Buddha did not owe it, did he? If the ghost asked the Buddha might not help. But Venerable Ananda owed it. He was the debtor. Now by pursuing Ananda, it could reach the Buddha's aid indirectly. Therefore, it regarded Ananda as the one who could save it. And it had the grounds for this request, for it was the karmic creditor. It had this capital to demand help from Ananda. Thus, it revealed itself to him. If Venerable Ananda had not been a Dharma practitioner, he could not have seen such a thing. He would have died in this way. The karmic creditor could not have contacted him. But since he was a Dharma practitioner, the connection was made. The truth was revealed. There was still a chance for rescue. It was not out of kindness to save Ananda. It was thinking of saving itself. If you listen further, you will understand. At that time, Ananda, having heard these words, he became greatly frightened. His heart filled with terror, he asked the hungry ghost, "This calamity and disaster of mine, what method may I use to be freed from such suffering, to escape from the torment of falling into the hungry ghost realm?" At that time, the hungry ghost replied to Ananda, saying, "At dawn tomorrow morning." Now, what does tomorrow morning mean? It means immediately, without delay. Tonight, it is already night, when daylight breaks, you must do it. You must act at once, as swiftly as possible. If you are able to make offerings to hundreds of thousands of Nayutas of hungry ghosts, as numerous as the sands of the Ganges River, now, what is a Nayuta? In ancient usage, it means innumerable, without end. What we today call infinite, they expressed with the term Nayuta. It means without end. Moreover, it adds hundreds of thousands. 100 times 1,000, how much is that? 10,000. No, it is 100,000. So, 100,000 Nayutas. To say Nayuta already means without end, yet here it is multiplied by 100,000. The ghost said, "You must make offerings to 100,000 Nayutas, innumerable, of hungry ghosts, as many as the sands of the Ganges River." Can you count how many sands are in the Ganges? That many you must offer to. And also to hundreds of thousands of Brahmins and heavenly beings. You must also make offerings to 100,000 Brahmins. The Brahmins were non-Buddhists, followers of Brahmanism. Perhaps this ghost itself believed in Brahmanism, so it wished its own kind to benefit. The Brahmins were like ritual priests, possessing certain powers, or supernormal abilities, able to receive such offerings. As for heavenly beings, sages, or called immortals in ancient Chinese, these were cultivators, people with spiritual practices, who thus had certain powers. The ghost said, "You must make offerings to 100,000 Brahmins and heavenly beings. And even that is still not enough, there is more yet to come." Using the measuring bushel of the kingdom of Magadha, at that time the ghost was in the kingdom of Magadha, and Ananda himself was meditating there. The ghost said, "You must use the measuring bushel of that country to measure rice." 1 bushel of rice, then, was like what we today call a kilogram of rice. At the time they used a bushel as a unit of measure for grain. The ghost said, "You must use the measuring bushel of my own country. Do not use the measures of other lands. Only the measure of my country will be accepted. Using my country's bushel, you must measure that rice. Give each one a full bushel of food and drink. To all those just mentioned, you must give each one a full bushel of food and drink." Ananda thought, "But I am poor. I'm a Dharma practitioner, who all day long begs for alms along the road, depending on the offerings of others. And now I am told to provide, to countless hungry ghosts, to 100,000 Brahmins and heavenly beings, a full bushel each. As though I were a millionaire. At present I cannot even find a single bushel of food for myself. And yet I am asked to gather so many bushels to give as offerings. Only then can I avoid death." He was greatly afraid. Then the ghost further said, "And also you must make offerings to the 3 jewels on my behalf. The 3 jewels are the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Thus you may extend your own life. And enable me to leave the suffering of the hungry ghost realm, and be reborn in heaven. Why must you offer on my behalf? You must offer to the 3 jewels for me. Because, besides extending your life, you will allow me to escape the ghost realm, to return to the heavens and enjoy the blessings of a celestial being." In other words, what the ghost meant was, I am your creditor. You must help me out of the hungry ghost realm. If you cannot help me be reborn as a heavenly being, then you yourself will still have to become a hungry ghost. Moreover, you must help me distribute food, and at the same time help the other hungry ghosts. They are very miserable, I see them all in misery, they all need help. Those Dharma practitioners of the same faith as mine, you must also give offerings and assistance to them. This was the meaning. Surely this was a very large debt indeed. To give each one a measure of food and drink, in fact, this was something Venerable Ananda could not accomplish. Naturally, he must have been terrified. What does "for me" mean here? It means for me alone. Not to save all the hungry ghosts and send them all to heaven. He said, right now you only need to make offerings to the 3 jewels on my behalf, so that I alone may ascend to heaven. This was what he meant. He wanted the merit to be dedicated exclusively to him. In other words, Ananda had to dedicate all the merit from offering to the 3 jewels to this one ghost alone, allowing him alone to receive it fully, so that he could ascend to heaven and no longer be a hungry ghost. If the merit were scattered among all beings, the ghost feared that no one, including himself, would have enough to ascend. That is why he emphasized, for me alone. This kind of karmic debt, I tell you, must be repaid while you are still alive, during your Dharma practice. Do not wait until after death to repay it. Therefore, I often advise my disciples, on our leaflets, we've written about offering lamps to one's karmic creditors. In the future, I will explain some techniques. There are methods of support you need in order to make such offerings effectively. I have already taught this to them, but not yet to the believers in public. In the future, when I teach about karmic creditors, perhaps in the next 1 or 2 sessions, I will go into this part. For now, I am still speaking about the realm of ghosts. These debts, you absolutely must repay them. Why? Because if you don't, you will end up like Venerable Ananda, at death you fall straight into the realm of hungry ghosts. When death comes, you will be forced to repay them, but by then you will have no time or space left, even bypassing the intermediate state, bardo, and will plunge directly into the ghost realm. Isn't this exactly what happened to Ananda? Because he had practiced the Dharma, his mind had become like a mirror, thus he could see the hungry ghost and receive its message in time to save himself. Many of you do not practice the Dharma. When asked to sit in meditation, you do not bother. How then would you know or receive such messages? In other words, if you do not repay your debts to karmic creditors, when you die you will plunge straight down, just as Ananda would have done. Do not think that you are so great, standing beside the Buddha, and that the Buddha will certainly save you, that you could never fall into the hungry ghost realm. You will fall. Understand? Matters of karma and cause and effect are such that even the Buddha may not be able to save you. He has taught you how to practice. If you do not follow it, even he has no way to help. Just as now, I am teaching you. If you refuse to learn, I too have no way to help you, right? So, you must remember, what does a Dharma practitioner represent? A practitioner represents something like today's billionaire, but even more, Nyuta, immeasurable wealth. In fact, a Dharma practitioner has inexhaustible wealth. Why is that? When you die, even if you are a billionaire, can you bring your wealth with you to the next world? You cannot take it into the coffin. When you die, you have nothing left. What remains? Nothing but those from your virtuous, evil karmic portfolio. If you have acted wrongly, then you are certainly doomed. However, a Dharma practitioner is different. Besides the virtuous, evil karmic portfolio, a Dharma practitioner knows his thoughts to practice the Dharma, recite sutras, and chant mantras to help himself or others. This is the difference of a Dharma practitioner. Therefore, this kind of power makes you richer than a billionaire, in the eyes of the sentient beings in the realm of hungry ghosts. A billionaire cannot help me after death, nor during life. Yet you Dharma practitioners can help me whether you are alive or after death. Thus, a Dharma practitioner is wealthier than a billionaire. So, if you become a Dharma practitioner, in the eyes of your karmic creditors you are a billionaire. You possess inexhaustible wealth. You have the ability to help me. By chanting a few mantras, you can already allow me to eat your saliva. If you would not even offer me your saliva, though your guru has already taught you to take a piece of bread, eat a bite, and then make an offering with a trace of saliva for my benefit, yet you refuse to help, how much hatred would that cause? Truly, you would be hatred to the bone. You are like a billionaire, who would not give to the hungry ghosts, not even a penny. Would they not hate you? In this way, you form deep enmity with them. Therefore, remember, as a Dharma practitioner, even if you only know the simple recitation of Namo Amitabha, you must learn how to help the beings in the realm of hungry ghosts. Well then, let us continue. Ananda saw this flaming hungry ghost. Ananda saw the appearance of this flaming hungry ghost. Its body was thin and weak, dried up, extremely ugly, with its face burning with fire. Its body was emaciated, skin and bones, its face hideous, and its visage ablaze with fire. Its throat was like a needle. Its hair was disheveled. Its claws were long and sharp, and its body seemed burdened with weight. The throat was like a needle, the hair unkempt, the claws sharp, as though carrying a heavy load. Hearing again such unpleasant words, he was greatly frightened, the hair on his body all stood upright in extreme fear. Ananda rose quickly from his seat and ran to the Buddha. He prostrated with 5 limbs touching the ground, lay flat on the earth, touched the feet of Buddha Shakyamuni, and with trembling body and mind, spoke to the Buddha. Save me, the world-honored one. Save me. After 3 more days, my life will end. Last night I saw a hungry ghost with a burning face. It told me that I have only 3 days of life. After death, I shall immediately fall into the realm of hungry ghosts. I asked how I might escape such disaster. The hungry ghost told me that I must give alms to as many hungry ghosts as the sands of the Ganges, without limit, to 100,000 neutas. I must also provide offerings to countless hungry ghosts, and give food to 100,000 Brahmins and heavenly beings. Only then could I extend my life. Only then could I be saved. The world-honored one, Buddha, please tell me how I may truly be saved. One cannot fully believe the words of that ghost. Only what the Buddha says can be trusted. Buddha, Buddha, he said. But how can I be saved? According to the sutra spoken by Sutra on the Dharani and divine mantra for saving the flaming-faced hungry ghosts, the Buddha taught the Dharani feeding method. What is called Dharani? Dharani means mantra. The method of reciting mantras to offer food is the present practice of Yogacara ritual for offering food to flaming mouth. It arose from the case of the burning-faced hungry ghost. The Buddha then taught him this method of food offering. The mantra recited in this food offering method is called the mantra of transforming food. It can change food into that which the ghosts may eat. In addition to reciting mantras, one must also practice visualization. Think about it. If you must give to innumerable hungry ghosts, how could you do so without visualization? Could you offer simply by reciting one mantra? Therefore, you must work with visualization. Otherwise, you cannot simultaneously make offerings to the innumerable 3 jewels, Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, as well as to countless hungry ghosts, Brahmins, and heavenly beings. Thus, one must visualize. I do not know whether your present Yogacara ritual for offering food to flaming mouth includes visualization. If not, its power will be much weaker. The Buddha told Venerable Ananda that in one past life, before attaining Buddhahood, he practiced this food offering method with diligence. Because of this practice, he was uplifted from the human realm to the heaven realm, becoming a deva. The Buddha encouraged Venerable Ananda to cultivate this method without doubt. Venerable Ananda followed and practiced the method. Indeed, the burning-faced hungry ghost received help. After 3 days, Venerable Ananda did not die, nor did he fall into the realm of hungry ghosts. He was freed from the condition of such disaster. This Dharani feeding method can only be practiced while alive. Why? Because it requires some actual substances, water and food, to be accomplished. If you die, where can you find water? Where can you find food? If after death you fail in practice, or fall into the state of the bardo, or the realm of hungry ghosts, where can you find physical things to practice this Dharani feeding method? Then what emergency method do we have? Today we shall speak of this method. Let us take a look. You say that the way of rescue is almsgiving, is it not? You give alms, that is making merit. When you offer for deceased relatives, can they actually receive it? We now quote the sutra to explain this sentence. After I do so much, can they truly receive it? Otherwise, it is the waste of my effort. In the Anguttara Nikaya, Book 10, Sutta 177, it is stated like this. There was a man named Brahmin Jnasoi. A Brahmin is of a foreign religion, a follower of Brahmanism. He asked the world-honored one, saying, Master Gautama. Gautama is the family name of Buddha Shakyamuni. His family name was Gautama, and his personal name was Siddhartha. That is, this Brahmin did not call out Buddha. Buddha. He addressed the Buddha as Master Gautama. He said, we Brahmins often give alms. We hold offerings for the deceased. That is, they make offerings for the dead, such as relatives. He said, may this almsgiving benefit the deceased kinsmen and relatives. When they gave alms, they thought in their hearts, may this almsgiving bring benefit to the deceased family and kindred. He said, may the deceased kinsmen and relatives eat this almsgiving. That is, they hoped the dead could eat the food of the offering, the present sacrificial food, and thus receive it. He said, Master Gautama, I wish to ask you. I wish to ask, does that almsgiving bring benefit to the deceased kinsmen and relatives? That is, he asked Master Gautama, if they did so, would their relatives receive benefit and eat that almsgiving? He asked if they could truly eat it. You say that they can eat that food. But is it truly so? In fact, he asked two questions. We do so many things, worship ancestors all day, perform rituals and so on, but does it benefit them? Can they eat it? Can they receive it? It is like sending a parcel. Will the parcel be received? The world-honored one answered like this. He said, after death, if one is reborn in the realm of hungry ghosts, if your ancestors or relatives die and are reborn in the realm of hungry ghosts, there, the beings of that realm can eat only of the food of the hungry ghosts. It is this food that sustains their life and maintains their existence there. You must understand, in the realm of hungry ghosts they also need food. This was what he meant. They can obtain only the food of the hungry ghosts. In order to live and to continue existence, they require this. He said, or that offered from friends, colleagues, kinsmen, and relatives here. That is, now, you who are still alive, here in this world, the living world, such as your friends and your family. To make an offering means to worship them with rites. When making such offerings, you always declare for whom it is done. You think in your heart, now I worship my father, now I worship my mother, thinking of their names. In this way they can receive it. He said, because you act so, they may continue living there. They may continue existing there. He said, Brahmin, I tell you, this is a possible case. It is possible that it can be done. Yet possible means also that it may not be done. I shall explain later. He said, almsgiving benefits those who live in that realm. You Brahmins do so. Perhaps they may receive it. But if you use almsgiving, that is, the method taught in our Buddhism, then it can truly benefit these beings. Those who live in the realm of hungry ghosts may thus continue, with full stomachs, not in such misery. This is of benefit. This is, by your ordinary practice, sometimes it works, sometimes it does not work, for it was said to be possible. But if you use the almsgiving method that we teach, then they will surely receive. This is the meaning. As for sentient beings in the realm of hungry ghosts, if your relatives fall into that realm, they have this need, and you ought to act so. He also said that this passage of sutra carries this message. Therefore, we must give alms, to bring benefit to these sentient beings. They have this need to depend for survival. They have this dependence. Food giving has yet another question. Now I give food, following what the Buddha has taught, now I give food. Do beings of the 6 realms, heaven, asura, human, animals, hungry ghosts and hells all benefit from it? Having done all this, do all of them gain benefit? This food giving is to be offering to the endless three jewels, Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, and to the endless hungry ghosts, Brahmins, and heavenly beings. Why is this? Because some have ghostly powers, and some have supernatural powers. That is, all of them can receive it. The Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha thus receive it. The hungry ghosts with ghostly powers can also receive it. The Brahmins and heavenly beings who practice the Dharma and have some supernatural powers, they can also receive it. But do others also receive it? Let us now look into another sutra, the Sutra on the Questions of King Milinda Panha. Who is this King Milinda? King Milinda was the ruler of India's Greco kingdom, Menander I. During the period of his, there was a cultivator, a renunciant, a bhikkhu, a Dharma practitioner of the Buddha called Ngasena, Narshen. He was the foremost cultivator of that era. Thus King Milinda would ask him everything. As you know, we as ordinary Dharma believers, when we ask such great cultivators, they may ignore, not reply, answer some, but not others, never answering completely. Is it not so? But if a king questions you, will you answer? You will. Will it be detailed? Extremely detailed. Indeed. We would not dare ask, and even if we ask, we learn little. But King Milinda asked much, and all were matters we wished to know. Including this question, the merit of our almsgiving, do my relatives actually receive it? Even such a question he could ask. Wonderful indeed, is it not? Thus, they collected and compiled it into a book called the Sutra on the Questions of King Milinda Panha. He asked so many questions, many questions. What I talk about now is but a very small part, very little only. This sutra was translated into Chinese during the Eastern Jin period, titled Ngasena Bhikkhu Sutra. In the Tripitaka there remain two extant versions. Let us now see what he said. King Milinda asked, Venerable Ngasena, these donors, having already made almsgiving, offering to their ancestors, then think in their heart, may this reach them, wishing that they may receive it, as if sending a parcel, hoping it will arrive. With this condition, does anyone obtain the result? What is meant by result? I only wish that they may receive it, this is called result. By this condition, by this way, do all persons receive it? Nagasena replied, Great King, I tell you, some receive it and some do not. Some receive, and some do not. The king said, Venerable, who receives and who does not? Venerable, which ones receive and which do not? Venerable Nagasena replied, Great King, those reborn in hell do not. If one is reborn in hell, then he will not receive it. It cannot be obtained. This parcel is not received. Even if you give food, it cannot be received. You also know, the hell is sealed, even the wind cannot enter. It cannot go in. Those born in heaven do not receive. Those born in heaven enjoy bliss, they do not need your parcels. They have fine food, much more delicious, they do not want yours. Those reborn as animals do not receive. Animals do not understand, they are ignorant, they cannot receive. Their minds are turbid, worse than our confused human beings. They have no mirror, thus no reflection of this message, they cannot receive. That is, their mind is dull, they cannot receive. The four deceased, those who die and go to the realm of hungry ghosts, are of the four kinds. 3 of the deceased do not receive. Of these, 3 kinds cannot receive. Those who vomit immediately when eating. Those tormented by thirst, not allowed even a drop of water, when drinking spout fire, neither able to eat nor to drink. These also do not receive. Those burnt by craving thirst. When they drink water, fire spouts from the mouth. These also do not receive. He said, it is these 3 kinds that do not receive. Those sustained by others giving, receive. He said, if one gives alms, that is, using the method taught by Buddha Shakyamuni, with that way of giving, it may be received. Those remembered by others, also receive. To be remembered, recalled, also receive. Let us now take a look. Why is it that those sustained by others giving, receive, and those remembered by others, also receive? Those sustained by others giving, you know, refers to certain special methods of giving food. To be remembered means that your descendants, children, friends, remember you. Why does their remembering you help you, enabling you to eat? This I shall explain later. But one must not always be attached in memory to them, for this makes it easy to connect, and thus go to their realm, and later fall into the realm of hungry ghosts. This, of course, is not allowed. Thus, our best solution is to establish a memorial tablet. This is also the condition for setting up the memorial tablet. To establish a memorial tablet is to give special alms to them. For example, in our association, there is smoke offering, which is one method of giving. So they can eat. Is it not so? Moreover, we recite precepts. Once they eat, they may feel full for a long time, for an entire month without problem. Is it not so? Then when you set up the memorial tablet, with recitation of names for dedication, this is remembering him. To speak his name, is this not remembering him? Therefore, the condition for the memorial tablet comes thus. But it is necessary to recite the name for dedication. Therefore, when we perform Upavasata, we must use the name on the memorial tablet for recitation and dedication. This is the reason. You must remember him. Those reborn in hell do not receive. Those born in heaven do not want. Those born as animals cannot receive. Of the 4 kinds in the hungry ghost realm, 3 kinds cannot receive. How may I make all to receive? There is this method. It is called dedication of merit. Dedication of merit, so it is received. What merit is received? The merit of preaching and explaining the Dharma is received. Now you understand why, before each smoke offering, I always preach the Dharma. Each talk is nearly 2 or 3 hours, never only 15 minutes. Why is this so? Too short, and the merit is not sufficient. To speak for 2 hours until the mouth is dry, then the merit is greater. Is it not so? I do this to aid all beings of the realm of hungry ghosts, as smoke offering benefits all kinds of beings. The names written on your memorial tablets, all of them benefit. For the memorial tablets, we must let them all benefit. For their merit to be high enough, the Dharma I speak must be refined, very precise, very excellent, and able to aid people. Only such Dharma suffices. Yet even if you recite a sutra once, it is better than not at all. Of course, the merit will not be so much. Only those teachings which are spoken clearly, leading others to understanding, may make merit high. That is, when people comprehend with their heart, when it aids their mind, mind to mind, such merit becomes high. Therefore, why do I preach the Dharma at the smoke offering pujas? This is the reason. Such merit, when dedicated to them, shortly dedicated to them, all will receive. All realms will receive. If in heaven, they will be better off by going one level up. If reborn as animals, they will quickly escape the animal body. If reborn as hungry ghosts who cannot eat, they may eat. Thus, all are helped. Further, the merit of spreading the Dharma. The merit of spreading the Dharma is very great. That is why I often tell disciples. When the Guru calls you to aid in spreading the Dharma, then you must do. Such merit, when there is chance to plant and you do not, and when the Guru not around, you will have no chance to plant it. Then you will regret. Indeed, planting merit is very hard, only a little may be planted, the kind with great strength. Now with such strong merit to plant, why do you not plant? Is it not wasteful? I often say that disciples waste the merit of offerings to gurus of the 10 directions, and to Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. We often hold public pujas, upavasathas, sutra recitations, or tsok offering pujas, making offerings to Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Such merit is very great. Of course, if you also recite the precepts, with public repentance, then merit becomes great. The merit of Dharma practice. Your own Dharma practice is merit. The Guru performs Dharma practice, and so do you. You may take it to dedicate. The merit of Upavasata, recitation of the precepts, and repentance, this merit is greatest, for it connects the power of precepts and the field of precepts together. Your usual Dharma practices, I can tell you, are filled with deluded thoughts, chaotic, very weak in strength, visualizations unclear. Your Dharma practice is like this. The merit is weak. Reciting sutra, after 3 verses you are thinking of other things. Reciting Buddha's holy names is the same. But if you connect with the power of precepts and the field of precepts, then such merit becomes much greater, many times more. All these are the purest fields. These merits we all may take to dedicate. Almsgiving of food, our smoke offering is one kind of almsgiving of food. These merits then become very great. These merits, I can tell you, can all be received. As for ordinary food giving, some are received, some are not. In the Anguttara Nikaya, Volume 10, Chapter 177, it is stated that almsgiving benefits those dwelling in that realm. It means that they indeed have this need, and you must do it. Now, many after death still hope their living relatives will remember them. Therefore, during Qingming or Alambana, if you do not worship them, they will resent you. In life I treated you so well. After I died, I even left you the house. In life, whatever you wanted, I gave you. When you were sick, I cared for you. Especially for children, when you had fever, I sat at your bedside sleepless, caring for you. Now I am dead, you truly treat me as dead. You do not do merit for me, leaving me without food. You do not care, you do not even think of me. Why does remembering him bring benefit? Besides the feeling of being remembered, as a living person you possess what is called yang energy. This means you have a certain energy, sustaining life with certain energy. Without such energy, I can tell you, you cannot even think. You are able to function now, are you not? When you think of your relative, you are connecting with him. You recall your father, he has died, if he has fallen into the realm of hungry ghosts, and when you think of him, you connect to the father in the realm of hungry ghosts. You are thus mutually linked. In the human world, energy is stronger, much stronger than that of the underworld. Why can you eat food while he cannot? Because you have energy and he has none, so he cannot eat. Thus, through remembrance, some energy can be transmitted to them, enabling them to eat. Therefore, this is the reason for the origin and function of ancestor worship. However, it depends on which kind they are. Among the 4 kinds of hungry ghosts, 3 cannot eat. Special almsgiving methods are still needed. Yet, among them, there is one kind who receives, the one who is remembered, receives. However, as Ndasina said, those who are given life-sustaining alms, they receive. If you practice special almsgiving methods, they receive. Those who are remembered, they also receive. So then, among the 4 types of ancestors fallen into the realm of hungry ghosts, do the other 3 types also receive? If there is such a connection, it is like your relative transmitting energy to you, as if your relative transfused blood into you, or exchanged heart, liver, spleen, lungs, kidneys for you. In this way, it really can save you. This is receiving. He also said, those who are remembered, they also receive. Who remembers them? Of course, their relatives. Right? So, they receive indeed. However, if you do it this way, as I have already said, you might as well set up a memorial tablet to assist in remembering them. Do not keep remembering them yourself. I will explain this later. In the Sutra on the Questions of King Milinda Panha, it is mentioned that ordinary sacrifices, burning offerings, and mentally thinking of almsgiving to relatives, just like what the Kitigaba Sutra states, you must read out his name for him to receive it. That is, you must think of him, right? Such almsgiving to relatives, or to sentient beings in the 6 realms, is not something all of them can definitely receive. It is already stated that it depends on the merit and karmic fortune of those recipients. Therefore, you must employ the power of mantras and visualization from Dharma practice in order to achieve full success. Those who are remembered, they also receive. We must consider this sentence. If we think of our relatives, does it not mean we ourselves easily connect to the ghost realm, making it more likely to enter the ghost realm later? Yes, it does. I have also said that in connection, your virtuous, evil karmic portfolio certainly contains both good and bad deeds. If you constantly connect with the evil realm, the evil realm being the realm of hungry ghosts, it will activate your own bad karma, which will be the first to manifest. They are in order, along with the pulling forces. If you are connecting to the ghost realm daily because you miss your father, what if you unfortunately fall into the ghost realm? If you keep connecting to it daily, isn't that a big problem? So, is there a solution? Yes. First, one should set up a memorial tablet in a Buddhist center that has merit and sufficient facilities. With a memorial tablet, this problem can be solved. But if you casually choose a place and set up a memorial tablet in some non-Buddhist center, there is no practice of almsgiving, no support of precept power and precept field, through recitation of precepts and public repentance, no preaching of Dharma, and no merit of propagating the Dharma. If you set up a memorial tablet in a Buddhist center without any merit, its power will be very small. Second, whenever you practice or perform virtuous deeds, no matter what kind of virtuous deed, even if it is chanting one mantra, or reciting one Buddha's holy name, these are all virtuous deeds. You should dedicate the merit. Is this not the same as remembering him? It is different. Dedication of merit and your individual remembrance are two different things. When you connect with merit, merit is like a net of protection guarding you. You need not fear connection with the ghost realm. I will explain this further later. If our Dharma practice fails, and after death we fall into the state of bardo or ghost realm, unable to perform almsgiving, what better method of Dharma practice can resolve this? If we constantly deal with beings of the ghost realm, or connect, or remember, or continually discuss, or often tell ghost stories, what consequences will there be? Let us first examine this. Ghosts are divided into two types. One type live in the world of Yama and is governed by him. Another type remains in the human world, scattered among us, gathering here. Most of them stay in forests, therefore forests are called villages of ghosts. Why is this so? Those forests are filled with yin energy, covered all day, with no sunlight reaching. This makes it convenient for them to gather. There is not much yang energy, not many people passing by, so they are not disturbed. Therefore, they prefer to dwell in such places. This classification is according to their place of dwelling. According to the Abhidharma Storehouse Manifestation Treatise, all ghosts originally dwell in the country of King Yama. It says that those ghosts originally live in a place called the country of King Yama. What you often call King Yang Luo comes from this. From there they gradually scatter to other directions. However, many are dispersed to other places. Not all are in that place and not necessarily gather there. Directly below the southern side of this Jambudvar. What is Jambudvar? Southern Jambudvar is also called Jambudvar. Buddhism divides the world into the four great continents, East Purvavideha, West Godhaniya, North Uttarakuru, and the southern Jambudvar where we now live. It says that in the place where we now dwell, in the south of southern Jambudvar, directly below lies the world where human beings live. Deeper than 500 yojana in measure. What is a yojana? It is a unit used to calculate distance. In the past, the daily march of an emperor's army was used as the measure. Generally, an emperor's army could march 40 miles, or 30 miles in a day. Thus, 30 or 40 miles was taken as one yojana. Here it is 500 yojanas, that is, 500 multiplied by 30 or 40 miles in size. Its length and breadth are the same. Both horizontal and vertical measure equally, forming a square shape. This is called the capital of King Yama, which is the capital of the realm of hungry ghosts. It says, however, that many of the latter are scattered among human beings, though most people cannot see them. The vast majority of ghosts are extremely hungry and thirsty. This is because no one gives them offerings, or they have no means to accept the food offering. Either no one provides for them, or even if offered, they cannot eat it. This is due to their greed and craving while alive, which brought them no satisfaction, thus leading them to fall into the realm of hungry ghosts, collectively known as hungry ghosts. The place where they generally dwell is called the realm of hungry ghosts, or the realm of spirits, or simply the ghost realm. Since the beings of this ghost realm are so close to human beings, what consequences will arise? What influence will it have? If we constantly interact and connect with beings of the hungry ghost realm, going for mediumship, or by thinking of them and telling ghost stories, what consequences will this bring? Whenever you think of beings of the realm of hungry ghosts, remember this: thinking of them is the same as connecting with them. Do not forget that even while alive, according to our virtuous the evil karmic portfolio, we are already connected to the 6 realms. But when our breath ceases and we die, to which realm will we be reborn? Or can we be liberated from the 6 realms, no longer take rebirth, and be free from samsara? This depends on whether there are special conditions in your virtuous, evil karmic portfolio. What are special conditions? It means that you may have some evil karma. You may have 500 connections to the hungry ghost realm, which is not considered too many. You may also have 400 connections to the realm of heavens, and 700 to the human realm. 700 plus 400 is already more than 500, isn't it? However, if you constantly like to talk about ghosts, and you constantly think of your relatives, who have actually fallen into the hungry ghost realm without your knowing, yet you still think of them, then you will be constantly connecting to the magnetic field of the realm of hungry ghosts. Thus, the original 500 connections in your virtuous, evil karmic portfolio, linking you to the hungry ghost realm, will suddenly surge to 5,000. This is disastrous. Within your entire, virtuous, evil karmic portfolio, this kind of connection becomes the most numerous. So, where will you go when you die? Of course, you will go to the realm of hungry ghosts. With 5,000 connections, 5,000 of pulling forces. This far exceeds the pull of your connections to other realms. With a bang, you will be pulled there. This is the explanation. Therefore, you increase the probability that, after death, your evil karma from the virtuous, evil karmic portfolio, to trigger you to be reborn in the hungry ghost realm. If you constantly interact and connect with ghosts, you will increase your chance of triggering evil karma, increasing the evil karma of greed, hatred and ignorance generated during such connections and interactions. Why is this so? You must know that when you frequently tell ghost stories, those ghosts are not like that. The events they experience, or their private matters, are things they do not want others to know. Moreover, if you distort the facts and tell them wrongly, they will become extremely angry. They are listening closely. Do you know that the Sutra of Kittagarbha says, when you offer something, you must call out their name. If you call their name, they will receive it. Likewise, if you are speaking about them, say you talk about this ghost named Chen Doran will immediately receive it. So, he is listening, as if to a radio, hearing what you say. And if you speak recklessly, describing the situation wrongly, he did not kill anyone and you say he did, or he killed 3 and you say he killed 9, how could he not be furious? He will think, why are you talking about him? You are revealing his private matters, even if some of it is true, he does not want people to know. Why must you speak it out? He will hate you very much. Thus, within your virtuous, evil karmic portfolio, he will suddenly add 10,000 new connections of evil karma for you, desperately pulling you downward. This is just like the dialogue between the flaming face hungry ghost and Venerable Ananda. If you don't save me, even after you die, you must come with me. Come down to my hungry ghost realm. It is like this, isn't it the same? Therefore, do not frequently tell ghost stories. I never tell ghost stories. I do not tell them. Why not? Because I know the consequences. And why do you like to tell them? Because many people like to listen, and you want to attract an audience. But why do you want to attract an audience? You want fame, you want certain benefits, you want others to admire you, you want others to enjoy hearing your ghost stories, but in doing so, you will harm yourself. This is called greed. And what happens with greed? It has been made very clear. Greed leads to the ghost realm. If you indulge in so much greed for such things, you will fall into it. Therefore, do not tell ghost stories, remember, do not tell ghost stories. To discuss beings of the ghost realm causes those beings to give rise to greed, hatred, and ignorance. When these arise, you will be implicated, increasing the likelihood of your own fall into the hungry ghost realm. Okay. If I cannot know whether my relatives have already entered the ghost realm, but I still very much wish to help my deceased loved ones. What can I do? First, you should choose certain days in the year, such as Alambana, Qingming, or Chongyang, Tomb Sweeping Festival, these commemorative special days, or perhaps the deceased's birthday or death anniversary. On these special days, you may perform offerings. But why choose a specific day? Because, as I have mentioned before, Alambana is actually called the Buddha's joyful day. Many Buddhas lend their assistance on that day. The same applies to Qingming, for it is a matter of shared consensus, where everyone agrees to honor their ancestors on that day. This consensus gives you a protective power. That is, on such days deities and Buddhas from other realms will especially come, because you are all remembering beings who may have fallen into the hungry ghost realm. They come to help, ensuring you are not disturbed or linked to that realm. You only perform merit, and merit can protect you from such dangers. On birthdays or death anniversaries, when you perform offerings, of course you must also worship all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, Gurus, and Dharma protectors. Why is this so? It must all be done together. During major festivals like Qingming or Alambana, some Dharma protectors appear to maintain order and act as guardians. But on birthdays or death anniversaries, such guardians are not present. Thus, you should not only worship your ancestors, you must also worship all Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, Gurus, and Dharma protectors simultaneously. Why? Because they will protect you, preventing you from linking to the hungry ghost realm, and also ensuring that in your virtuous, evil karmic portfolio, your evil karma does not connect to the ghost realm. This is the crucial point. Therefore, everything must be balanced. Remember, balance is essential. To achieve balance, you must do these things together. This is what I am teaching you now. Remember this. Do not say I never taught you. Do not come 10 years later saying I never told you. Now then, when you dedicate merit for the deceased and set up a memorial tablet, it must be a tablet endowed with merit. You should only establish such a tablet if it possesses merit, not just casually make one. You must seek one with strong merit. As for how to help your ancestors and deceased relatives, you can actually refer to a video entitled, What Preparations and Aid Should Be Made When Facing One's Own Death, or that of Relatives. Available from our Dudjom Buddhist Association, International's TV channel on YouTube. I will not elaborate further now. Third, after performing any meritorious deed, dedicate the merit to the deceased. Whether you practice Dharma, recite mantras, chant sutras, recite the Buddha's holy names, save others, make food offerings, or engage in any virtuous act, you must dedicate the merit to them. Since merit accompanies it, it is like a protective net. And what does merit connect with? A field of virtuous energy. This virtuous magnetic field protects you. Even though dedication involves remembrance, since when you dedicate, you recite their names, which is a form of remembrance, it will not cause harmful consequences. In other words, it will not link you to the hungry ghost realm. That is the meaning. So, remember, merit itself connects with the virtuous magnetic field, and through this you receive protection. Fourth, take refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, and learn how to perform the food offering ritual. Of course, this ritual must be done under protection, right? All right. Let's consider methods of rescue. Is food offering truly a method of rescue? Let's see. The Dharani feeding method can only be practiced while alive, because it requires physical items, water and food, in order to be performed. So, if you use this method, the one just mentioned, the Dharani feeding method, it actually has a limitation. After death, if you fall into the hungry ghost realm, you cannot practice it anymore. Therefore, if our Dharma practice fails, and after death we enter the stage of Bardo, or the ghost realm, unable to make food offerings, what better method of practice can solve this? The first requirement of such a method is that it must help you, even if you are in the state of Bardo, or the ghost realm. It must allow you to resolve the problem of food, meaning, to actually eat something. That would solve the first issue. If you cannot eat, you have no energy, and without energy, you cannot practice anything at all. Try fasting for 2 days and then being asked to practice the Dharma, you will not be able to. In the hungry ghost realm, you are tormented by hunger every single moment. How could you practice the Dharma? You cannot. But in the stage of Bardo, perhaps you are not as hungry, or in such pain, yet you are still unstable and restless. Therefore, you need some energy to gain concentration. Only when settled can you truly practice the Dharma. Otherwise, your mind will drift endlessly, like a feather blown about. So, how can we resolve this problem and gain energy? This means your Dharma practice must, first of all, resolve this matter. It must address the problems of food and energy supply in the place where you find yourself. Such a method of practice must provide this solution. Second, the problem of being trapped in the stage of Bardo, or the ghost realm. Right now you are stuck there, and you need to leave that place, because it is ultimately a dangerous realm. So, does your Dharma practice have the function of helping you leave this danger zone? In other words, your Dharma practice must also resolve this problem. That is, if you remain too long in the state of Bardo, or the ghost realm, you will formally fall into the hungry ghost realm. As a Dharma practitioner, you must know how to address this. Third, your Dharma practice must also resolve the question of how to swiftly leave such a terrible and unstable place. How can we quickly depart from the stage of Bardo, or ghost realm? Can this teaching actually solve that problem? As I mentioned earlier, accumulating virtuous merit can be divided in 3 levels. You may refer to our Dudjom Buddhist Association, International's YouTube channel, Compassion Series Episode 43, which explains the 6 paramitas, but they must be practiced together with visualizations. You must engage in practices that create merit, directly connected with the Buddhas, but this requires visualization. You must also create connections with the highest supports within the world, yet this too must be done with visualization. The 6 paramitas integrate the power of all beings. How does visualization work with this? If you can practice with visualization, you can also link to the power of countless benevolent deities. That adds another layer of power. And if you connect with the power of all Buddhas, you will have the assistance of the Buddhas themselves. When combined with visualization, you can accumulate merit that leads to rebirth in a Buddha's pure land, liberation from samsara, and ultimately Buddhahood. If you accumulate the support of worldly forces by creating connections with the highest supports in the world, and if you can combine this with visualization, you can gather this assistance in a way that balances the tension between worldly Dharma and supramundane Dharma. Such a balance is possible and can aid your Dharma practice. This is of the worldly level. The 6 paramitas are also worldly. Connection with the Buddhas is of the supramundane. But can the Dharani feeding method, the commonly practiced method today, actually achieve these effects? First, the practice of the 6 paramitas is only one of the methods. It can indeed benefit countless hungry ghosts, but it cannot help certain beings in the other 5 realms. Therefore, it is not fully comprehensive. Second, even if this practice includes offerings to Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, and offerings to the 3 jewels, Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, has it also connected with the auspicious field of the 8 auspicious signs? Has it, as I mentioned in the previous teaching, invoked the 8 auspicious signs link with the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas for planting merit? No, it has not. That is why it is incomplete, lacking the magnetic field of the 8 auspicious signs. Third, does it connect with the highest level of worldly support? Yes, it includes offerings to Brahmins and heavenly beings, which are indeed worldly supports. But does it encompass the 7 treasures of the wheel-turning king, and the many different levels of such support? No, it does not. It only possesses support at a certain Dharma practitioner's level, not the full range. Thus, it is not comprehensive. Furthermore, there are many methods of food offering. But without visualization, the power is very weak. The scope of visualization makes a big difference. Have I not explained earlier that there are several ranges of coverage? If your visualization covers less, such as missing out on the magnetic field of the 8 auspicious signs, then the merit will be diminished. The results will not be the same. According to the Sutra of Kudgala the Householder on the differences of karmic retributions, there are many merits from performing food offerings. Although the method has limitations and is not fully comprehensive, the merit is still great. First, one gains life, meaning your lifespan is extended. Second, one gains beauty, meaning your physical body becomes healthy and without defect. Third, one gains strength, meaning you can develop your abilities fully. Fourth, one gains stability and unhindered eloquence, meaning your life is stable and your speech is excellent. Fifth, one gains fearlessness, you will not be afflicted by fear, and you will also be able to help others. Sixth, one is free from laziness, you will not be indolent. For example, when I give teachings, I can speak for at least 2 hours. I would never be lazy and only speak for 15 minutes, thinking, anyway, you people don't have patience to listen, so I'll just cut it short. I would never do that. I am very diligent, and I practice food offerings. Seventh, one becomes respected by others, people respect you. Eighth, one becomes beloved, others enjoy your presence. Ninth, one gains great fortune, you will have abundant blessings. 10th, at life's end, you are reborn in the heavens. Moreover, one quickly attains nirvana, you can reach Buddhahood. The speed of attaining Buddhahood, of course, depends on the specific method of food offering you practice, and how wide the scope of its visualization is, right? In the Sutra of the Dharani of Amta food offering to hungry ghosts, it says that if you perform food offering for just one day, all the hungry ghosts of the world will be fed. In that one day, you plant vast merit. If you perform food offering for many days, then all the hungry ghosts of the 6 realms in the 10 directions will be fully satisfied. In this way, the merits gained by the Bodhisattva are inconceivable. The blessings you accumulate cannot even be counted. They cannot be measured. They accumulate without you realizing it, slowly, gradually, until one naturally attains Anuttara Samyaksabodhi, that is, Buddhahood itself. This means that, without even noticing, you will easily become a Buddha. That shows how vast your merit is. However, if when you perform these food offerings you are not linking them with the awareness, meaning you are not practicing while connected to the result of the awareness, then your food offering practice will have shortcomings. In such a case, progress will be very slow, it may take 3 great asamkhya kalpa. Although food offering generates great merit, without being paired with the awareness, it cannot lead to Buddhahood in this present life. Ordinary methods of food offering can only be practiced while alive, because they require actual substances, water and food, in order to perform them. Therefore, besides accumulating virtuous merit on 3 levels, you must also understand how to accumulate emergency virtuous merit, which also falls into 3 levels. This applies when, at the moment of death, your Dharma practice fails and you cannot reach your intended destination, or if you have not practiced the Dharma at all, then you may remain in the bardo or fall into a realm that is relatively easy to escape, or into one that is extremely difficult to escape. What should we do in such a situation? According to the Dharani feeding method and other ordinary food offering methods, these are not really emergency practices. They cannot resolve the 3 urgent issues I described earlier. To accumulate such merits, you need to apply specific methods in your Dharma practice when you are alive. There are many different food offering practices. For example, Shuta water offering Torma, in esoteric Buddhism, Mengshan food bestowal to the hungry ghosts, which is in fact derived from esoteric Buddhism, and the Yogacara ritual for offering food to flaming mouth, which is of the lower 3 levels of Vajrayana and is mentioned in the sutra cited earlier. There are also food offering assemblies and other methods. Indeed, there are many different ways. But regardless of which food offering method is used, if it is not accompanied by compassion and bodhicitta, and if it is not performed through the awareness and sustained within the awareness, then its effectiveness will be very weak and limited. This is something you must remember. Therefore, what is the very first level of introductory teaching in the Dudjom Buddhist Association, International? It is the before meal prayer. The before meal prayer itself has 3 levels. In fact, I have only taught the first level, but even that already provides definite help. It can help those who remain in the bardo, or in realms that are easier to escape. And how does it help? If one's Dharma practice fails, and after death one falls into the bardo, or the ghost realm, where one cannot perform food offering, what method can resolve this problem? It is precisely the practice of the before meal prayer, the method that I have taught. It is an emergency rescue method, and in fact it is also one of food offering practices. However, it is different in many ways. It consists of several levels of visualization. All along, I have only been teaching the first level, but the disciples rarely practice it, and since they ask no questions, I have not been able to teach the second level. Just 2 weeks ago, I taught the before meal prayer again, and some disciples said they had already learnt it and did not want to listen, so they left. Unexpectedly, during that very session, someone stood up and asked a question concerning the second level. I had no choice but to answer, so I gave them some teachings about the second level, of course not the complete teaching, right? This shows that disciples must request the Dharma. If you do not request or ask questions, the Guru does not know what you fail to understand, nor whether you are practicing, so how can he answer you? Isn't that so? When you ask, I will respond. On that day, someone happened to ask, so I answered. So I taught a part of the second level. Therefore, as disciples of Dudjom Buddhist Association, International, you must be diligent in Dharma practice, and know how to ask questions, then you will learn more. Whenever I repeat a teaching, I always explain more and at a deeper level. But you often skip these repeated teachings and leave, and thus you miss a great deal. In fact, just 2 weeks ago I began to teach the second level, but did not finish, it was only a part. What does the second level deal with then? It addresses how, if you remain in the bardo, or are reborn into a realm from which escape is relatively easier, you can break free and get out. This is the focus of the second level. The deeper methods help you deal with the more difficult cases, such as when you enter a far harder state, like the realm of hells, from which escape is extremely difficult. The more advanced teachings address precisely this. Nevertheless, the first level teaching that I have given my disciples is already very good. It no longer requires the use of physical food offerings. Even without material food, you can still sustain yourself and take nourishment, even if you fall into the hungry ghost realm. This practice enables you to eat without relying on physical offerings, allowing you to replenish your energy. Even at the first level, the teaching already helps you accumulate merit. The second level teaching enables you to swiftly escape from the hungry ghost and hell realms. This is more advanced, and in fact both the second and third levels accomplish this. Even while remaining in the bardo, you can still engage in the two most vital and decisive actions that elevate your existence. First, the first level practice increases your merit and energy. This is already accomplished at that stage. The second and third levels enable you to use your merit and energy to activate the virtuous karma from your virtuous, evil karmic portfolio, give yourself the power to choose the path of rebirth. In other words, to escape from the hungry ghost realm, the hell realm, or the bardo, you must have energy. Once your energy is replenished, you must also have a method, otherwise how could you escape? This is what helps you choose the road of rebirth and thereby escape. This is precisely what the 3 levels of the before meal prayer achieve. It is a practice designed to balance all needs, and balance is already inherent within it. I have said that balance is very important. Now I have almost finished what I intended to say today. This before meal prayer is a very important practice, and I hope you will practice yourselves diligently. It is itself a teaching of balance. If our methods of practice are not balanced, what happens? Deviation and imbalance easily arise. So how do we arouse the awareness? In other words, how do we achieve balance? Any Dharma practice that is linked with the awareness is balanced. But how can the true awareness be developed? Let me review it once more with you. How is the awareness developed, and what is the genuine awareness? If you can perceive all actions of body, speech and mind, and see that they accord with the Dharma's definition of discipline, right views, right knowledge, and balance in the middle way, that is called the awareness. Secondly, if you have the ability to realize the transformation process of your mind, and through the 5 steps of our mind training procedure, transform the mind into the 5 wisdoms, that is also the awareness. Thirdly, you must also be able to perceive the elevation of the 5 wisdoms and guide them into the state of emptiness, neither existence nor voidness, the state of oneness. In this way, your awareness is truly enhanced. So, how is the awareness developed? By accomplishing these 3 aspects. Then you can develop the awareness and achieve afflictions being Bodhi. The Sutra of the Garland of a Bodhisattva's Primary Karmas states that cultivating the 10 beliefs requires 1 to 3 kalpa to reach the first level, the Bodhisattva with initial resolute vows. And how long is 1 kalpa? 4,320,000,000 years. The Sutra of the Humane Kings says 10,000 kalpa are needed. Why does it take so long? Because you are like a feather, floating about, unsettled, practicing a little and then stopping. Just like some of my disciples, after taking refuge, soon they claim dizziness or fever and skip Dharma events, missing many teachings. Some receive teachings but never practice, thus wasting this life, having obtained the most precious thing yet discarding it. The Treatise on Awakening of Faith says that it takes 10,000 kalpa of practicing the 10 beliefs before attainment is achieved. So how can one practice more swiftly? In fact, I am now teaching my disciples the fastest way, the method for attaining Buddhahood in this very life. The question is only whether you are willing to follow. If you wish to attain Buddhahood in this very life, the method of cultivating the 10 beliefs is to use the mind training procedure to develop the 5 wisdoms, and combine them with the oral pith instructions of the Diamond Sutra. The 5 wisdoms are those 5 kinds of wisdom, the pith instructions of the Diamond Sutra are those too. The speed depends on how fully you apply them. Let us go deeper. Our mind training procedure must set a goal, to merge the 10 beliefs into the awareness, and to develop the 5 wisdoms. The 10 beliefs are in fact 10 types of awareness. If we can elevate the awareness to the state of non-abiding in notions, then we are truly cultivating the 10 beliefs. But if we abide in notions, we are no longer cultivating the 10 beliefs. We must also add, not abiding anywhere to arouse the mind, in conjunction with the 10 beliefs. That is, we must arouse the awareness in harmony with the 10 beliefs. Only then can we thoroughly overcome all difficulties and faults of the mind and of daily life. Moreover, with not abiding anywhere to arouse the mind, we bring to the complete perfect enlightenment. Not abiding in notions does not mean mere acceptance while doing nothing, rather, it means acting without attachment, in harmony with the 10 beliefs. Not abiding anywhere to arouse the mind is equivalent to active acceptance, to active facing of circumstances, and to using the agile awareness in accord with the 10 beliefs, developing wisdom and the reflecting on all actions. What is the mind training procedure? It has 5 steps. First is acceptance, accepting all afflictions and problems, which helps us develop the wisdom of equality. Second is questioning, asking thoroughly, together with analysis and tracing to the root, which helps us develop the wisdom of discernment. Then we must think of methods for treatment. Using the Dharma, discipline, and the cultivation of the awareness, we devise ways to treat. If we succeed, we accomplish the all-accomplishing wisdom. When these 3 wisdoms been developed, and we have successfully solved problems and corrected faults in the mind, while remaining non-abiding in notions, then the mirror-like wisdom can be developed. If we lead the mirror-like wisdom into emptiness, neither existence nor voidness, the state of oneness, and remain non-abiding in notions, then the wisdom of Dharmadhatu can be developed. When this is combined with our compassion and bodhicitta, we can fully restore our bodhicitta, which is perfect enlightenment itself. Thus, we can attain Buddhahood. For further details, you may refer to our Compassion series, from episode 20 up to the present one, episode 44, where these teachings are explained. That is all for today.